How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. Have you ever been in a situation where you were way more committed to a guy than he was to you? Well, what if I told you that that wasn't an accident? And he actually used a very specific strategy on you in order to get you to overcommit. If you want to learn what that strategy is, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing 5 ways men get you to overcommit to them. That way, you never again find yourself in a situation where you're desperately trying to be a man's wife who doesn't even know your last name. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all you beautiful people doing on this New Year's Eve to the Eve? Okay, we're just days before. I'm sure you're gathering all your resources for the craziest party of your life. Okay, who we got up in the TikTok chat? We got Dejana here, Valerie here, we got E here, we got Lee here, we got Star here, we got Sneak here, we got Starburst here, Teresa here, Bree here, Shirley here. Welcome all you beautiful people. And of course we have our 3 moderators, Sharice, SH, and Scotty up in our TikTok chat. Who we got up in the YouTube chat here today? I see we got Tracy Niles, one of our amazing channel members. Irina is here. Mary is here. LP is here. Naturally is here. Special shout out to Mary. I always see Mary here. She's very, very consistent, okay? Henya, one of our amazing channel members, is here. Class, one of our amazing people is here. Flower is here. Who else we got? I want to make sure I shout out as many people as I can today. Great Fortune Cookie, one of our amazing channel members, is here. Is Ivy here? I don't know if I saw Ivy's name a little bit earlier, okay? And of course, we have the most amazing Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. All right, let's get this party started, y'all. Tell me in the chat, okay? How was your weekend, first of all? Do you not go too crazy? Was your weekend good? We're like we just had a weekend, and now we're about to have what's essentially going to be like another weekend. Well, at least it's going to be a party. So tell me, was your weekend good? And are your plans for this upcoming New Year's Eve going to be even better? I'm just curious, okay? All right, let's get started on today's show because I do think that it's a very important show for everything that we want to be learning and understanding as it relates to the Players Club. So we're going to start off with point number 1, which is level. Now, what do I specifically mean when I say level? There's a very interesting thing that guys are going to do here with you when they want to get you overcommitted. Now, make no mistake about it. You might be wondering to yourself, well, Tomisin, what does overcommitment really mean? And why do men even care about this? I thought men don't think about anything except for food and football. That's the only thing I thought men even care about. But I guarantee you this matters to them, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why this matters to them, okay? So in terms of your relationship with a guy, when he is seeing you and meeting you for the first time, and he knows to himself, I'm probably not going to actually wife this girl or be in a real relationship with her. He also, in that same, sentence, in that same time, says to himself, okay, even though I know I'm not going to wife her or actually be in a serious relationship with her, I don't need to tell her that. And if I can use certain strategies in order to continue to extract from her, despite not ever having the intention of being with her, that would be ideal. So you overcommitting yourself is a version of you giving as much as you possibly can while you get very little in return, okay? And that doesn't always mean just you spreading your legs wide open and allowing himself to jackrabbit himself inside of you, all right? So this is a really interesting thing that men will do to trick you into overcommitment. He'll say something like, look, I want you to understand something. I really care about you. And I really, when you met me on Bumble or when you met me on Hinge or when you met me on Tinder, I told you how much I was looking for something serious. And, yeah, you do text me, but you don't text me enough. Yeah, you do want to hang out, but you don't want to hang out every single day. Yeah, you do want to do stuff, but you don't seem as excited and as serious as I am. I feel like my level of seriousness, right? We can even put it here. Let me see if I can fit it on the side here. Serious, okay? My level of seriousness is all the way up here. And your level of seriousness is all the way down here, right? And this is, I know some of you have heard the term gaslighting before. I'll just put down S here. I know some of you have heard the term gaslighting before. And the reason I kind of want to describe this here to you is because this is a version of gaslighting, but instead of gaslighting it to make you feel like, he didn't do something that you know he did, this is gaslighting to make you feel like you're not putting forth enough effort in this relationship. See, because you come into this relationship and maybe you like this guy and maybe you're looking for something serious. I'm assuming you are, which is why you join the Players Club damn near every day. Okay? So you're looking for a serious relationship with a guy who's also serious. So it's very important to you that you're always moving in the right direction towards that serious relationship and not wasting your time. I'm assuming you don't enjoy wasting your time. So when you meet a guy that you like and you really want to build with him, and that same guy that you want to build with is telling you that your level of seriousness is not matching his, well, the first thing you immediately start doing is thinking to yourself, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? How am I not showing up for him? How am I not doing these things for him? And you're starting to look for all of the things that he said, right? And all of these context clues, because he's mentioning to you, oh, you're not doing this, right? You're not as available as I would really want you to be. I really kind of want to hang out every single day and you're always too busy for me. I really kind of want to text 24/7 and you always seem to have something else to do. Whenever I call you, you don't pick up even though it's 4 a.m., even though I just left the club. But when I say that I really like you and I say I really want to build with you, that means I only want you. And so they're going to kind of gaslight you by giving you all of these examples of ways that you are way less serious than he is. And see, the thing about it is, you won't actually feel his level of seriousness. He'll just talk about it as if it actually exists. But the thing about good gaslighting is that he makes you feel as if it actually exists just by talking about it, right? So, for example, he might say something like, oh, well, you see how I call you all the time and you never answer. Well, that's void of context, right? Because if you guys it's late at night, for example, and he's calling you after he leaves the club because he just finished a bottle of Casamigos with his boys on a booth that he didn't pitch on, and he's leaving that club sloppy drunk, and then he picks up the phone and he calls you at 4 a.m., yeah, theoretically, every time he calls you at 4 a.m., you don't answer the phone. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not serious about building a real relationship just because you don't answer the phone at 4 a.m. But you see, the way that he can present it and frame it, I've talked to you about framing before because it's important in both senses, on both sides. See, when he can frame it from a standpoint of, oh no, you're the unserious one. Because if you are really as serious as me, if you are really on my same level, you would answer my call at 4 a.m. And because you don't answer my call at 4 a.m., that's an example of how unserious you are about being in a serious relationship with me. And now, because remember, what your goal is to be in a committed relationship. So when a guy is telling you, I'm ready for commitment, and you're the one that's not ready for commitment, it starts to scramble your mind. And you immediately start thinking, okay, I got to fix everything that he just mentioned, is making it seem as if we're not on the same level. Because I want him to take me as serious as I'm taking being in a real relationship. And I don't want to make the mistake of losing out on a guy who is really, really serious about building a real relationship. But that's the whole point of the technique, is that it makes you feel like he's serious so that you start thinking about all the things that you need to change and adjust. And if he's really good at gaslighting you, he'll make you feel like the parts that you're unserious in and the parts that you need to fix are, ironically, the parts that benefit him the most. So an example would be calling you at 4 a.m., right? Another example would be like, my love language is physical touch. And, I just don't really feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm connecting with the other human being across from me if me and her aren't having a lot of physical touch. Me and your dump truck, when I can feel on it, when I can put my hands in the back pocket of your jeans and squeeze, oh my God, that's what makes me feel connected and bonded to you. But because we never do that, it really makes me feel very distant from you, and I want to feel connected to you. Don't you want to feel connected to me? Don't you want our bond to be strong? And see, when they spin it that way, you start to feel like, oh, I'm holding back on a lot of physical touch and he needs that. That's his love language. Girls, he said that's his love language. I need to give that to him. I need to be there for him, especially because he's starting to feel like I'm not as serious as he is. Okay. And then what's the first thing you do? You jump right into the physical touch stuff that you were never going to jump into simply because you're thinking to yourself, this is making me seem more serious to him and in this relationship, despite the fact it's not actually doing that. Okay. He doesn't actually care about that. Let me just move this over here. Okay. Right. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right. I don't want you guys confused about that and how level works, because this is such an easy trick to get you your head spinning and get you to start to overcommit yourself. All right. We don't want you overcommitting yourself. Let's go into our next point here. This eraser, man. But I tell you, boy, it's leaving me a dirty board. I don't like a dirty board. All right, let's hop into point number 2. Okay. So I do admit some of these are going to be very eye-opening to some of you, because if you've ever been in this before, you really gonna feel it when I talk about it. Okay. Now, this one is an example of a guilt trip. Now, there's many different guilt trips that guys can use on you to get you to overcommit. But in this specific scenario, we're going to be talking about a very specific type of guilt trip. So I'm going to draw out a little bit of a visual for you so that we can all be on the same page here. Okay. So in this guilt trip here, you're over here and you have all of these different family and friends here. Okay. More friends, more fam. You're just someone who is full of love in your life. So many people around you who care about you and want to see you win and support you, and you can spend your time with. It's great for you, okay? And you have an abundant life. So what will happen is that some guys will come into your life, and this is part of the way to get you to overcommit. They'll say, "Oh my God, look at how many people you have in your life. You have your dad, hopefully. You have your dad. You have your best friend. You have your mother. You have your father. You have your sister. You have this friend. You have that friend. You have your coworkers. Look at how many people are supporting you. Look at how many people are there for you that you can turn to, that can help you out, that can be there for you and support you. I want you to know that I really wish I could be like that, because I'm here and I'm so lonely. I have no one around me for miles. No brother, no father, no sister, no nothing, no mother, nothing. I'm an orphan with no one knows me. I don't even know myself. I don't even know what hospital I was born. I don't even know my own age. I'm so lonely and so void of any support from anyone in my entire life. And then what they'll do to you is, as they're telling you this sob story, they're going to add on the fact that, oh, you're the only person in my life that I even feel like I can talk to, that I even feel like I can rely on or count on. I have no other support at all in my entire life outside of you. Now, you might be thinking, well, Tomisin, what's wrong with that? That sounds so sad. People go through things. Why are you such a mean-spirited man that you can't accept that some guys go through things? Guys do go through things. But I want you to understand that this in itself is a manipulation tactic, because it's a version of a guilt trip. Because you want to know what the natural thought process for someone like you who has empathy is as soon as a guy presents a situation like this where you're the only person that he can rely on and he has no support system outside of you. And if he can't talk to you or you can't be there for him, he's literally going to be by himself. What it does to you is it starts to make you feel like, well, damn, I've got to do more and not always be here with all my friends and all my family all the time. I got to step into his world a little bit, and I got to be over here, right? So we'll say you times 2, right? Or you version 2. Because if I'm here with you, then you can be happy, right? Instead of being lonely like you were before when you were by yourself. because having me finally means that you have someone who loves you, cares about you, and supports you, like I have all around me in my life. And the craziest part about this version of a guilt trip is it doesn't even always necessarily have to be true. What do I mean by that? You might not even have the most abundant life, full of support and love and caring people around you. You might only have one or two friends or one or two family members that you're close with. And aside from that, that's pretty much it. But the thing about it is, even if you just have one, even if you have none, the framing of it will be like you at least have more than me. Because you might have 0, but I have -1. You might have 1, but I have 0, right? It's always a framing of you have more than me. And I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about emotionally. And that support is what makes it so that I can only rely on you. And if you're not there for me, then nobody's going to be there for me. So then the first thing you think is that I should be there for you. And I should try my best to always be there for you in any capacity for any reason whatsoever. So you end up overcommitting yourself because now a guy that should be courting you, a guy that should be pursuing you, asking you out on dates, being consistent with you in order to show you that he's worthy of your time. Instead, you're the one overextending yourself, overcommitting yourself, trying to be as available to him as possible, dropping your shifts, dropping your friendships, dropping your hangouts, dropping your everything so that you can be here for this guy who told you that you're the only person in his life that he can turn to for support. Okay? Right? And then you end up in a situation where as you overcommit yourself, it becomes harder and harder to pull yourself out of that cycle. Because once he's got you in that place, you start to feel like, oh, if I walk away now, I'm turning my back on him. I'm abandoning him. And he's going to emphasize that to you as time goes on. Anytime you start to feel like, well, this is just getting too much. I can't continue to go back and forth with you. I can't continue to drop everything in my life for you because now my life is falling apart and I'm supposed to be here helping you. And I'm starting to have as bad a life as you are. And anytime you think about actually walking away or taking some time back for yourself, he will immediately make you feel guilty again and guilt trip you again and make you feel like I can't leave. Because if I leave, I'm a horrible person and I'm abandoning this guy that said he needed me. Okay? Very simple trick to now get you to overcommit. Now you're giving him girlfriend and wife treatment when he never ever earned it. All he did was give you a really, really sad sob story that made you feel bad, okay? Stories are very powerful, all right? Because if they're believable and they're a good story, it can get you to do some things that you would never otherwise do, all right? Let's hop into our point number 3. I see some of you are like, oh, this is really connecting with me today. This is exactly what I went through. That's good. It's good that we can have shows that you feel like is really speaking to you. There's a reason that we're having this show today for you then, all right? Let's hop into point number 3. Now, I don't want any of you, what I'm going to discuss in point number 3 is the time zap. I don't want any of you to confuse this with love bombing because this can easily be confused here, okay? So we're going to talk about something. It's going to sound a little bit like love bombing, but I promise you it's not love bombing, at least not in the sense that I'm describing it here. And we're going to I'm going to explain to you why this is not a version of love bombing, at least not how it's meant to be explained, okay? So let's say all of these here are your week, okay? So you have your week here. So you got your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? So in your week here, obviously, you have things like work, school, priorities that take up a good chunk of your day, right? Each and every one of these days of the week. And these are things that are mostly unmovable. It's not like you can avoid them. Like you need money to support you. You got to go to school for education to eventually get a job. These are things that are just unavoidable, right? Even family, like you're going to have to spend time with them. It's not like you can just have a free schedule all day, every day. So these are things that are in your, boy, I tell you, boy, let's dry erase marker. These are things that are in your schedule as times that are really unmovable. Now, what I mean by a time zap, see, what can happen is in order for guys to get you to overcommit, very early on, they'll say, oh, I really like you and I like spending time with you. So rather than us, go on a date a week, because I don't want you listening to Tomisin. He's a toxic man. Don't be listening to some stupid man on a whiteboard, okay? He's a stranger. Listen to me. You care about me. You know me. We connect. I want to spend every single day with you for the rest of the week, because me and you are getting along really well and I'm really loving the vibes here. And see, you might think to yourself, well, Tomisin, isn't that kind of like love bombing? Even a man who is treating you well and a man who is going about the relationship in what seems like a healthy way can actually still be doing this, because it's a time zap for a reason. Because remember, you have these spaces in the week is like your free time. Let's consider it, right? So as he says, okay, now I'm going to take up the rest of all of this free time you have. And me and you are going to spend damn near every single day together, because I love seeing you. I love spending time with you. I love taking you out on dates, and I don't want not a single break from you. Now that he zaps your time, see, this is something very interesting that happens with the mind and the soul. When you're going through your regular week, you have a regular routine and a way that you go about things on a weekly basis and even a daily basis. When you're a single woman, obviously you have to fill your week out with things that don't always consist of dating the same guy over and over again, or maybe not necessarily always going on multiple dates a week. When you're a single woman, your routine is going to be more focused on you, at least it should be, and is going to be more centered around being a single woman. But here's the really interesting thing that happens. When someone comes into your life, specifically the man in the scenario, and he implants himself into your daily and now weekly routine in a capacity, in a percentage, I guess we could say, that's so intense that it now forces your whole routine to become scrambled and has to be reorganized and centered around him now, and have him factored into your weekly and daily routine now. All of a sudden, this is such a drastic shift in your lifestyle that you now very quickly become accustomed to having him part of your life in a capacity you would have a husband in your life. So now, emotionally, your mind is starting to play a couple of tricks on you, because your mind feels like it needs to catch up to your existing physical routine. So this physical routine of seeing this guy damn near every day, your mind starts to feel like, okay, I need to catch up here. I need to get on that same level of seeing a guy every single day. We're damn near having sleepovers every single day. I've got my stuff over at his place. He doesn't seem toxic. I like the vibes that's going on. He's nothing of what Tomisin says on his show. And I think that it would be good for me to spend every single day here. But then as you spend every single day here and your emotions are trying to catch up and be on that same level of seriousness as implementing someone into your daily routine every single day of the week, now you start to feel like, okay, I'm really committed to you. I'm really invested in this relationship. This is very serious for me. And remember some of the things that we talk about on other episodes of the Players Club. Detachment while dating is one of your most powerful tools in your tool belt. Not because you're supposed to be a really mean and rude person, but because when you can date from a detached standpoint, it allows you to view things from a third person perspective, be more logical and analytical in the way that you observe and analyze the men that you're dating. Because remember, when men are coming to you and they're asking you for your time, you're a beautiful, amazing woman with a huge dump truck and voluptuous yitties and a beautiful face. So of course, all the men are going to be begging for your time. But then it becomes your job and obligation to make sure you're very aware of who everyone is, what they're about, and you're filtering through the good men, and then you're allowing all the bad men to stay far away from you. So the reason I say that is because that process can only be properly done when you're in a detached state. That you can date people, enjoy spending time with them, but never forget what you're here for and never forget what you're constantly observing of men. Not that you're so involved in it and so blinded by it that you're unable to see any red flags, you're unable to see any issues, you're unable to see any of the things that you're supposed to be observing and analyzing while dating a guy. So this is exactly what happens when he zaps all of your time very quickly. It voids you of your ability to date from a detached standpoint. And it forces you to feel like you're as emotionally committed to him as your physical schedule is committed to him. So whether or not he's love bombing you, right, or whether or not he's a healthy guy that just wants to see you every day, this is still a mistake. Because quickly you'll find yourself in a position where you're now emotionally committed on the level that that reflects your calendar, so to speak, okay, or your weekly schedule. Because seeing someone every single day of your life means that your relationship with that person has to be very close. Think in your life, how many people in your entire life did you ever at one point in your life see every single day of the week? I'm talking about every single day, okay? Tell me in the chat, who are the only people that you can even think of you ever at one point in your life saw every single day for an extended period of time? Tell me in the chat. I'm curious. I want to see if any of you are paying attention. Who in your life, there's no right or wrong answer, did you ever see every single day? That water's good. Okay. I see people saying family. Someone said hubby, right? Husband, siblings, okay, myself, yes, my kids, parents, right, my dog, very interesting, right, my mom, my dad. All right, so the reason that I asked that question, right, is because if you can see from your answer and other people's answer, a lot of the attachments that are associated with seeing someone every single day are usually going to be the strongest attachments in your entire life. And, not just people that love you, for the vibes, that have unconditional love for you, including your pets. So there's a very strong bond with the people in your life that you see every single day. So imagine what that's doing to your psyche, to your emotions and your mental. If you've already correlated seeing someone every single day with an extremely strong and close bond, and now all of a sudden a guy's hopped into your life out of nowhere, out of the sky, okay? You never even met this guy. You saw him at a club. He came out of nowhere, and now he's part of your daily schedule. And you're seeing him as much as some of these other attachments that you guys discussed, like a best friend, like a sister, like a mother, like a father, like a dog, okay? All of a sudden, you feel like, okay, our relationship, our closeness and our bond has to be at the same intensity and the same level as my bond with all of those other attachments that I see on a daily basis. So, like I said earlier, whether or not he's love bombing you or whether or not he's intentionally trying to love bomb you by doing this time zap still does the same thing to you in terms of easily getting you to be able to overcommit yourself. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys so far? All right? Someone said, I love you, Tomisin. I love you too. All right. Let's hop into point number 4. Okay? Hope that one made sense. Don't be putting no men into your Google Calendar. Date them sparingly. Detached. All right? Very detached. Very, very detached and demure. All right? Maybe we'll have a show called Detached and Demure. All right. Point number 4. This board's so dirty. It makes me very mad. All right. So this is one that's a little bit more, I guess we could say, overt. Well, depending on how you look at it, right? Okay. So, in this point here, for point number 4, this is a very interesting thing that can happen with guys. And, you can share with me whether or not you've experienced this before. So, we're gonna try and, I really have to do this visual well for this to work properly, because if I don't make this visual make sense for you, it's gonna be very confusing for you. So I'm actually gonna try and focus on my drawing here. Should you do curly or straight hair today? No, you got like messy vibes today, okay? Messy vibes. Messy, curly vibes today, all right? So this is you here, obviously. Hopefully you know that's you. And this is the man here. So something very interesting happens. See, when you're dating guys and you feel his attention, feel his validation, feel his focus, it's great. And you're living a good life and you're enjoying yourself and everything is a-okay because his focus, we'll put down here, his focus is on you, right? Now, what some sneaky men will do is after they give you a dose of what it feels like to have their focus and their care and their attention, what they'll do is all of a sudden, they'll go and they'll find a new girl, right? So let me even put it here so we can all see. Cut off the top of her head a little bit. They'll go and they'll find a new girl that they can spend time with, right? And they'll even make you aware of the fact that this new girl exists, okay? She's got even curlier hair than you. That's just a little bit longer, okay? With just a little bit of a bigger dump truck. And see, what'll happen here is guys will start to make you feel like, oh, yeah, you know, I was focused and attentive towards you, but I'm starting to think, you know, me and you, maybe we're just better off as friends. Because I'm just not sure if our vibe is the right vibe. And, you know, I also met this other girl and, you know, she's really a vibe. Like me and her, we spend time together. We have fun together. We laugh together. I hold her dump truck. She, you know, puts her hand inside my pants. And you'll start thinking to yourself, why is a guy that was supposed to be dating me or courting me, why is he now talking about other women and his desire for other women or his relationships with other women in detail? Why is he now presenting, and usually they'll focus on one girl in particular, one that they know will really irk you and bother you. And they'll start talking about this woman casually as if, they, you know, it's just innocently, yeah, you know, my coworker girlfriend with the biggest dump truck ever. Yeah, you know, when she sits down, everyone in the office stares. When she's walking by, everyone in the office is staring at her tight jeans because you wouldn't believe what she looks like in a pair of pants. Right? And he'll start talking about this other girl and you'll be thinking to yourself, what are you doing here? Because the way you're talking about her doesn't even sound like a friendly vibe. And it actually is starting to feel like you're using this girl as a way to make me feel threatened. Because when you hear how he feels or how he's interacting with another girl and how his focus is starting to shift to another girl, you all of a sudden go from being very happy to being very sad. Okay? And now that you're very sad, because his focus is on this other girl now, you start thinking to yourself, I want to get that focus back in my direction. I don't want him talking about girl number 2 anymore. I don't want him going to the office and seeing her huge dump truck walk around the office anymore. I don't want him having fun with her or hanging out with her or feeling like she's a better vibe than me. So now you went from being in a place where he's approaching you, pursuing you, wanting to get to know you, and you're thinking in your mind how to save the relationship and get his attention back. Because it's not just about him pulling away, so to speak. It's about him continuing to be in your life, but you feel like his attention is not on you. It's starting to shift towards someone else. Now you start to think to yourself, in order for me to make up for that, to get that attention back, I need to be better than this girl, okay? And you start thinking, you start looking at her pictures, you're scrolling through her Instagram, you're trying to compare yourself and say, what does this girl have that I don't have? My dump truck is just as big as hers. I look even better in a pair of jeans than her. Why does everyone talk about her and not talk? Why is he always talking about her and not talking about me? And so your mind starts going and going and going and going. And you're in a place where, because of this anxiety that is building up in you, because of the fact that he's starting to focus on another girl and the fact that you're starting to compare yourself with this other girl, you start thinking, I need to show him how committed and amazing I am by doing more for him so that his focus and attention will be back on me. So very similar to a clown, you start trying to juggle and trying to have flashing lights and throw fire up in the air just so that he'll notice you and see you and put his attention back on you. But the problem is, as you do all that, you're going to overextend yourself, trying to have him see you and notice you and put his focus back on you. And as you overextend yourself, he's going to be like, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted, because I wasn't getting that overexertion, that overcommitment from you before. But now that I gave you a little bit of a kick in the pants, and I lit a fire under you by making you feel like I was focusing on someone else, I can get that level of commitment for you. It's actually exactly why I tell you guys to do that, but not in this extreme way, okay? In a more subtle way that allows guys to approach you so that they can see that you're still desirable, okay? But it's a very, very good tactic. And if you're not a seasoned veteran of the Players Club and you don't understand relationships and dynamics and how they work, you'll make the mistake of allowing this to throw you out of whack. And then once your anxiety starts going, it starts bubbling up. It's like a pot of boiling water. Once it gets over the surface there, it's uncontrollable. And now you're starting to do things and say things that you wouldn't regularly do if it wasn't for the fact you're trying to regain some control here and regain some attention here of the relationship, okay? And of the guy. Tell me in the chat, I'm very curious. Have any of you ever been in a situation where a guy that you liked or were dating started talking to you all of a sudden as a friend? You know, he went from dating you to starting to talk to you as if we're just casually spending time together. Oh, you know, it's just a vibe, like you're one of my homegirls. And you're thinking to yourself, how can I be a homegirl when we went on multiple legitimate dates before? That don't make no sense. And you start thinking, did I do something wrong here? Did I say something wrong? And then he'll start talking to you like a homegirl and start talking to you about his other girls and start talking to you about the other people that he's taking out on dates. And you're thinking, how did this happen so fast? Me and him were dating, and then now all of a sudden I'm some best friend to him and he's talking about other people he's dating. This is very weird. And it's strange because rather than ghost you, he'll still give you attention, but he'll make that attention more friendly and platonic, even though he once wanted to be romantic with you. That confusion is what will kind of throw you out of whack and scramble you and then have you acting crazy, okay? I see Devil Blue says he had the audacity, right? Someone said he calls me best friend now. That's insane. Jazzy says would never tolerate, all right? Yeah, I hope not, all right? So that is what that strategy is. It's a threat to throw you off and get you to overcommit yourself. Let's hop into point number 5, okay? You guys like that drawing there? I think that was pretty visually accurate. I was gonna say visually appealing, but not that appealing, just accurate, enough for you to get the point. So we're gonna hop into point number 5 here, okay? One of the easiest ones for guys to use on you. They want to get you to prove it. Now, we're going to draw out 2 versions of you. I got to draw that. Oh, whatever. This one doesn't matter as much. All right, so you're here with your triangle body because I can't draw anything better than that. You know I'm always going to draw your booty. Wow, that's a diaper booty if I ever seen one. And so this is you here. Wow, you look like a grandma. Let me fix your hair a little bit. Get you some nice drippy curls, okay? So you're here, right? This is you. Now, something that's going to happen with guys as they try to get you to overcommit here. This is also you. Don't you worry. There's two versions of you in this one. This version has a nose, the other one doesn't. This version has a longer body. Maybe you're a little bit taller in this one. And we'll put your dump truck extra big because, yeah, vibes. Okay. So, but this is the wife version of you. Okay. Now, the reason I have a you here and I have a wife version of you here is because this is something that very interesting that the guys will do to you. They'll say, you know, I think you're cool and all. And I like the vibe that we got going on, but I'll be honest with you. Can I be honest with you? Me and you were close. I want to be honest with you. You see, there's certain qualities that I'm looking for in a wife, right? I want her to be super duper curvy, right? I want her to be just very caring, right? I want her to be extremely available, right? And, you know, there's so many things that I want a wife to be. And I need a wife to be for me. And I'm just not going to be honest with you, right? You're someone, you're always busy, not very wife-like. You're someone, right? You're thinking about yourself. You're someone, you know, I like you, but you don't have the right shape for me, right? Your shape is off, right? And you're so cool, and there's so much vibes here, but based on what I'm looking for in a wife, you're just like barely, just not there, just barely. If you just had a little bit bigger of a dump truck, maybe a little bit more hourglassy, right? If you were just a little bit more caring, more available, and more of a couple of other things, you would be the wife that I'm looking for. But because you're not, I don't know what to do. I don't think I can really make a relationship out of this. But that's the trick. Because now all of a sudden, you think that, oh my goodness, I have a guy ready to commit, ready to be in a relationship, and I have most of the traits that a guy would be looking for, but I'm not quite a wife yet. So all of a sudden, now you stand up and you're in prove it mode because you're thinking to yourself, well, you told me I'm not as curvy as you need, so I'm going to prove to you I can have the dump truck that you're looking for in a wife. You told me I'm not as caring as you need, so I'll prove to you that I can care for you like no other when you're sick, when you're lonely, when you're sad, when you're everything. I'm going to be as available as availability can possibly be. There's only 24 hours in a day. I'll be available 25 hours in a day. Because if you think that that's what a wife is and I want to be your wife, I'm going to prove to you that everything you're saying that I'm not is exactly who I can actually be. That way, you'll finally wife me. Very sneaky. Because he didn't tell you to change this way. All he told you was, hey, you just don't quite have what I'm looking for. And because of your desire to be in a relationship and to be with him, you started thinking to yourself, well, let me adjust everything that I am to make up for the things that you don't think I have, that you're looking for a wife, so I can be that for you. But the problem with this, not only is that you get on this path of trying to change yourself to be more of what he wants, right? Which is already very not good, but you also start to spiral out of control while doing this. What do I mean by that? As you start doing a little bit to change yourself and adjust yourself, even if you, let's say for the sake of example, he's like, I really want someone who's very available to me, and you start taking off shifts for him to hang out with him. So now instead of seeing him once a week, you're seeing him 4 times a week. And you're taking less shifts so that you can spend more time with him. Still, after you do that, you're thinking, okay, well, now he's definitely going to see me as the wife that I am. But what happens is after you then do the thing that he said he needed for a wife, he moves the goalpost. Oh, yeah, you're more available to me and we hang out more throughout the week. But really and truthfully, like, what are we really doing? Like, we're not really going out anywhere. We're not really doing too much. So then you're thinking, okay, well, now I got to plan some stuff for us to do. I've got to cook him some dinners. I've got to make it really fancy and really nice. And then when you make him really fancy, nice dinners and all this stuff, and you're murdering yourself trying to look through cookbooks and be the perfect wife and perfect cook and chef that he's been asking for, you then, after you cook a whole bunch of meals, he says, "Yeah, you do a good job cooking for me, and you're available for me, and you've been taking shifts off for me. But I'm just thinking, what about when I call you at 4 a.m.? That you're not really as available then. That whole sleep thing that you be doing, it throws me off because when I'm downtown and I'm having a good time, I want to be able to come back over to your place and catch some Z's because you live real close to the club. So I don't know about how you can be a wife if you're not going to allow me to come sleep in your bed after I go get drunk. You want me to sleep in someone else's bed? Or would you rather me sleep in yours?" And so that's how the manipulation starts, right? Once they get you to change and adjust a few things and they see that you're ready to try and prove something to them, they adjust the goalpost and they say, "Oh, but one more thing, but one more thing, but this other thing." And there is never an end in sight. You're always changing and adjusting something, never able to get to the point where he actually wants to be with you and make a wife out of you, always chasing that high of the possibility of maybe one day eventually getting there. Okay? Very not good for you. Does that make sense to all of you here in the live stream? Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed today, right? By the way, if any of you came late or you're just coming now and you missed some of the points, all of the points are available on my YouTube channel, which is above my head on the top right corner of the screen for those of you who are watching on TikTok, because I'm live on YouTube at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. You just didn't know that, okay? Technology. So on the top right is my name. You can just type in my first name, Tomisin, and then you can go over to my YouTube channel and you'll see me live there. And you just can rewind the live right from there and you'll be able to get all the points there that you have missed if you came late, okay? So you get them all there. You don't miss anything. Okay, so very, very important. All of these 5 points. Let me go through some of the questions here. LP Baby says, for point number 4, the threat, is that why men keep female friends or ex-girlfriends around to make us feel threatened? Well, not in itself. The ex-girlfriend or the female friend can come in for many different reasons. It's never good, but for many different reasons. But when they have that ex-girlfriend or female friend, it's always a good point of reference that they can compare you to and make you feel less about yourself in comparison to that woman. Sometimes guys will even do that not on purpose, just because they're actually in love or have love for, or usually in love with that girl best friend or that ex or whatever. And they'll start comparing you in a way that makes you feel less than and then gets you to start thinking to yourself, I need to do something to get him to see me, care about me, and want me instead, okay? Lotus says, that's why intimacy before commitment mostly goes wrong because of it. Exactly. Why I tell you guys to hold off, chill a little bit. It's not just about holding off because, you have some arbitrary rule, but it's about allowing the relationship to progress and you to see some things of him and from him to verify that he is who he says he is, like a job application, right? And then once you can start to verify that, then, you allow the relationship to progress to that other stage, if that makes any sense to you, right? Someone says, if he is a terrible texter, but makes plans and always shows up, is it enough? Well, let me ask you a question. If I told you that you're going to be in a relationship with a guy who can text you 24/7 and never go out on a date with you, or a guy who will never text you but go out on multiple dates with you and be consistent dating you, which one do you think would actually lead to a successful relationship? The guy who can text you 24/7 and never see you, or the guy who can see you and never text you? Answer that question for yourself, and then you have the answer to your own question. Someone else says, too late, I gave it up, and he's paying for the rent, or I will drop him and continue my life. Well, okay. I think that in exchange for your soul and your spirit, because when you give your body to a man, you're giving him part of your soul and your spirit. I don't think rent is a sufficient payment for your mind, body, soul, and spirit. So if you feel like a relationship is no longer serving you after making a mistake of sleeping with a man, I think the best thing for you to do is leave the relationship. Not count on the fact or hope that he will pay your rent as a repayment for you giving him your mind, body, soul, and spirit. That's just my own perspective. But if you feel like rent is a sufficient repayment for that, then be my guest. I won't lose any sleep. LP Baby says, what are the bad reasons for why men keep female friends or ex-girlfriends then? That requires a whole show in itself. Maybe I'll put that down. Put that down in, if you could write that in our show ideas list. Yeah, on Discord. Please do that if you know how to access that, LP Baby, so that I can remember to add that to my list there, okay? Because that can be in a whole show in itself. Angelina says, everyone has some manipulative quality. Quite literally, everyone does. So all the times that we talk about this stuff on the show, I don't ever want you guys to think that men are only bad and never good, because there's always good men out there. But obviously there's a lot of bad men. So it's important that when we're explaining things and I'm trying to help you in the dating world, I help you see all the different strategies and ways that bad men will present themselves. That might confuse you. That way you can sift through a lot of bad men. Talking about good men is not necessarily harder, but it's a little bit more simple, just because when we talk about good men, yeah, having a good relationship feels good, so there's not that much to decipher. But a lot of times having the good relationship is the hardest thing to find, because there's so many people with ulterior motives. So we talk about good and bad, but we do focus on trying to decipher information, and that usually comes in the form of the ways that guys will try to deceive you or pull the wool over your eyes. Because if dating was easy, then everyone would be in a happy relationship. You wouldn't even need me. Nora says, it's all about controlling emotions. If you can leave easily, that is the point. I talked about in an earlier point why it's so important to date from a detached standpoint, not because you're not supposed to care about guys that you're dating, but because when you can date from that detached standpoint, you can analyze information clearly and concisely and be sure that who the guy you're dating is actually who he says he is, and not be confused or in la la land because he's able to love bomb you or just pull any one of the tricks to be able to get you in a position where you're not actually analyzing information. And you're too involved in it to really see it for what it is. And you need other people to tell you that. Okay. Gabriella says, he hasn't texted me in 3 days. Or called me. Should I block him? Well, that really depends on your situation. By the way, that reminds me. For those of you who are watching the show now and you are wondering, hey, Thompson, I have a really specific situation. It may or may not really apply to what you were talking about, but I have a really important question to ask you about my relationship. You can do that. I have a 24/7 hotline that you can hit up, and you can ask me a question and I answer you. It's actually me, because you're going to hear my voice. You go to my link in my bio if you're on TikTok, or the link in my description if you're on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice. You go to that link. You can type out your message as long as you want to type it out with all the details you need. And then I send you back a voice message, and I send it to your email. Pops in your email. It's going to be like 8 to 10 minutes long. I'm going to give you a descriptive, detailed answer of your situation and my advice on it. That way you can really hear it directly from me, because it's actually me. You know my voice, right? It's actually me, and I'll be responding to you, and then you'll get the opportunity to tell me in details, okay? And also, for those of you who want to ask me a question that maybe you just want me to answer it on the show and you don't mind your information being on the show, you can ask it in our Discord time, which is coming up at the end of the show. It's our last segment. And you can ask me that question there, because I do a whole bunch of Discord questions from the community about their situation. So it's a very amazing learning opportunity. So stay tuned for that if you're there for that. I also just saw out of the corner of my eye, someone donated a really, really amazing gift there. I don't know who it was. Shout it out in the chat for those of you who saw the gift there, because I want to make sure I shout that person out for that gift. That was amazing. I seen the animation, so must have been a really good gift on TikTok, okay? Someone says, if we started with intimacy from the beginning, is there any chance to make him chase me? I have a show on that. So Cecilia, you should go to my YouTube channel. It's just above my head there, just Tomisin. And if you look in the live section, I haven't yet edited it to put it into my main part of my channel. There's a couple of shows on that, how to get your power back, and also what to do. Literally, I have a whole show on exactly titled What to Do If You Slept with Him Too Early. We did that show not too long ago. So it exactly defines for you exactly the step-by-step on exactly what you should do there in that situation. Say says, what if the fine line between showing that you care about them, I think you might say, what is the fine line between showing that you care about them, and let me scroll up here, but also not letting them walk all over you. It is quite a balance. And here's the thing, at the beginning of a relationship with a guy, it's honestly not that necessary to show that you care about him. Now, obviously, when I say that, you don't want him to feel like you hate him or despise him or don't want him around or are completely not interested. But if he's approaching you because he wants you and wants to get to know you, it's really not that necessary for you to be going on huge soliloquies about how amazing he is, how he's the best thing since sliced bread, and how you really want to be in this relationship with. It's not necessary because he's already pursuing you. So his desire for you will progress the relationship forward regardless of what you say. All you have to do is show him enough interest that he feels like he's progressing, and that's all you need. Telling him about how much you like him isn't actually making him like you more. In fact, for guys, the more you can scale that back, the better. Because guys like to be in their own desire for you. They like to be so in love and thirsty and hungry for you that they can't think about anything else. Unfortunately, though, when you start telling him how much you want him and care about him, you start to become less desirable. I don't make the rules. I'm just explaining them to you. And so when you start telling him how much you need him and want him, it stops being this really, amazing, thirsty, hungry game for him to come and get you. It's just very weird, but that's how guys are. So I advise you to pull back on that, on trying to show him how much you care. Just let him be, let him approach you, and let him show you how much he wants you. And then you just allow things to progress from there and be strategic about showing him just a little bit of interest so that he can feel like he's progressing. We have a whole show on that, all right? Someone says, hey, girls, don't listen to him. I'm a guy and I'm not like that. Every person is different. Well, sure, I can't speak for every single guy that's ever existed. But if all guys were so simple and easy to be with, then we would have a lot of successful relationships. There'd be nobody watching my show or any relationship advice people. So I'm sure there are good men out there, but it's just not going to be everyone. It's not possible. All right, let's hop into our, did you guys shout out who the person was that donated? I didn't even see it. You guys didn't shout it out on TikTok, okay? Anyways, let's hop into our next segment, which is our React segment of the day. Our React segment is where I react to TikTok videos that you guys have sent to me from the universe. Okay, we'll call it the universe. Came from outer space, somewhere. Okay, and you guys have sent this to me for us to have discussion about. Such an amazing time, very amazing, awesome time. And so spam up your camcorder emojis, your baby oil emojis, and your headphone emojis. We're going to be hopping into our React segment. I'm going to clean up a little bit here. Obviously, you're not going to watch me clean up, so we're going to watch an intermission video. Today's intermission video comes from Natasha Swan. She is talking about how to become hot and beautiful when you feel ugly. I'm going to join you guys back in a moment after she does our little intermission here. It's not going to be long. I'll be back in a bit.
Different qualities. So here's a complete guide on how to feel hot and beautiful starting today. Step number 1 is open your goddamn heart and keep it open. I know it hurts so much, but baby girl, only 1, 2, 10 people hurt you, but there's 8 billion people in this world. So you're gonna hate every single one of them just because of these few people in this world that broke your heart. You're gonna literally generalize the whole population and treat people based on these few experiences. Being kind to people is so freaking beautiful. It is so freaking attractive. And not only kind to people that you know and that you care about, but literally everybody. People that work on a gas station, people who serve you at the restaurant, people who work in a toilet and give you tissues, like literally every single person. When you open your heart to these people and you understand, you realize that these people have a story, that we all are struggling with something at the same time, and just being kind because you understand that everyone is going through something is so freaking beautiful and makes you such a beautiful person. And the way you treat other people is usually a reflection of how you treat yourself. When you're constantly judging yourself and hating yourself and not satisfied with who you are, what the hell are you doing? Like literally, what did you do to yourself to treat yourself like that? Learning to be kind and nice to yourself, it's a hell of a journey. It's not like one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I love myself. I'm gonna just spoil myself. That's not self-love. Self-love for me is talking to yourself the way you would talk to your child. Why are you being so judgmental? Why are you being so mean to yourself? Why are you choosing yourself as the last person in the room? Babe, I've learned that hard way. When you grow up, you understand that people are gonna treat you based on how you treat yourself. If you yourself put yourself on a pedestal, people around you are going to treat you this way, your family, your boyfriend, your friends. But if you are so insecure and you treat yourself mean, that's how everyone's going to treat you. And I promise you that. So if you're asking yourself why my boyfriend doesn't respect me, why my parents are not respecting me, so maybe it's because you don't respect yourself. Step number 2 that makes any woman extremely hot and beautiful is when she's calmed down. You need to calm down. I don't care if you have 5 kids right now, if your work is crazy, if you have $100 in your bank account, you need to calm down. I wish I could take you like this right now and shake you and just be like, calm down. Like, stop running around like a crazy person. If you have an anxiety every single day and you run like a crazy person, not understanding what's going on with you, you cannot relax. You cannot sit with your thoughts. You cannot stop and just for a second, just be with yourself and ask yourself what's going on. There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't see that your anxiety is not you. Your anxiety is a signal that you're doing something wrong with your life. I live in New York for 7 years now, and this crazy city taught me that doing more things throughout the day and running like a crazy woman does not make me more successful or happy. It only makes me so stressed and not feminine, so that I hate my life. I hate how I feel. I hate how I look. And it makes me feel ugly. I used to come home in New York, sit down and be like, I can't move anymore because I was doing way too much every single day and I was not enjoying it. I was not getting closer to my goals. I was not getting more successful because I was living on an autopilot. But when you choose to sit down and ask yourself with your eyes closed, hey, how are you doing there? What's going on? Why are we running? Why do you constantly feel like you don't have time? I promise you, when you slow down and you give yourself some peace
Why
and
are you
some
running? Thank you, Natasha. Natasha, I think it's a Russian name. Natasha, it is Natasha Swan. I like her videos. Okay, let's hop into our next segment here. What in the world? What in the world? Okay, we're gonna hop into our React segment here.
Why you love toxic?
Are y'all listening to this black cat energy nonsense? I'm gonna tell you something right now. You can date a man.
Ladies, let me holler.
You know what's
Okay,
really hard.
let's start.
You know what's really hard to
here.
do that you probably haven't given yourself credit for is leaving a relationship that can't meet all of your needs. It's not bad enough to leave, but it's not good enough to stay. It's not your full fuck yes relationship. So you feel like you're settling, or the things that are true priorities to you are not getting met. And so you decide to trust yourself and trust the unknown, and to not make a choice out of fear or lack or scarcity mindset, and understand that if not this, something better. So if you've done that, baby girl, give yourself credit, because that is not an easy feat. You know what's really hard to do that you probably haven't given yourself credit for is leaving a relationship that...
When I did a video on why you shouldn't date nice guys, I had a lot of people commenting that were in relationships like this, that she's kind of talking about here. A relationship where it's not necessarily he's a bad guy or an evil guy or treating you horribly, but a function of dating the nice guys is they can fall into the category of being a passive guy and being a guy who doesn't take initiative. And, while him not wanting to offend you is not a bad thing, he's so inoffensive and he's so scared of ever offending you that he doesn't ever try to put his best foot forward in any capacity. He's always timid and always scared to say or do anything. And so that in itself can be a version of settling, because from what those other women tell me their experience was and is that in those relationships, dating those nice guys that were passive is easier because you have less to worry about, right? And you have less to think about when a guy is so passive, so nice that he doesn't do anything. But at the end of the day, you just start to feel not attracted to that guy, or just overall feel like, you know, you have no desire for that guy because of the fact he has no masculinity to him. He's very feminine in his approach to the relationship, and you have to be so much in your masculine. So I say all that to say that can be another version of a relationship where it's not necessarily bad, but you might have to make a decision that's best for you to like actually walk away from that, because there's more than that you're looking for than just, I mean, I hope there's more that you're looking for than just a guy who will be nice to you. There should be more criteria than that, because I think that relationships consist of more than just is a guy going to be nice to you type of thing.
One thing's for certain and two things for sure. They may have played with your presence, but best believe they feel in your absence. See, when you come into people's lives with nothing but good intentions, you're there to cater, to nurture, and to just fill them up with so much goodness, and they mess around and fumble that. Oh, baby, they be sick about that in the end. They be sick about that. Because how is it that you sat there and fumble somebody who don't want nothing from you but you? They always love to act like it don't faze them, you know, in the beginning when it's fresh. They act like, you know, they living it up, living life to the best, to the fullest. Yeah, until time sits in, until your absence sit in. Then all of a sudden it ain't fun no more. I know for a fact they be sitting there thinking to themselves, dang, was it worth it? Was it really worth me losing a great person? I just couldn't act right for this one good person that God blessed me with. I just couldn't get myself together. I couldn't lower my pride. I couldn't, you know, not cheat. I could not lie. I could not steal. I could not manipulate. I could not try to control
What was he stealing?
this one good person God blessed me with. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, that answer would be no, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth losing a great person. It wasn't worth losing all what that person came with, the peace, the kindness, the love. It wasn't worth losing. And they might never tell you that to your face, but best believe it's on their conscience every night. Probably.
Two things though, and what she said here. Number one, if you actually want to make a guy feel that pain of like losing you, he actually has to lose you. I always tell you guys that and try to remind you of that, because that can be one of the mistakes you make, thinking, oh, he's going to regret losing me until I come back into his life. And hopefully when he regrets me, then I'll be back and then everything will be, that's not how that's going to work. Okay. He has to regret losing you by losing you. And number two, when it comes to situations like this, you can't, one of the things that can kind of leave you stuck, so to speak, is being in a place where you're waiting for that day where he turns around or he sends you this long message and paragraph of how he messed up and how it was the worst decision of his life, leaving you or cheating on you or ruining your relationship, because he realizes how much you brought to the table and how much better you are than all the other women and blah, 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 blah. That can be like a fantasy that you replay in your mind. You know how you have your fantasies like you read in Wattpad and things like that? Yeah, there's a fantasy sometimes of that return, that long message, that long talk where he finally admits to you that you were so amazing and you were so awesome and he missed out on some great opportunity. I also want to advise you against of like wishing upon a star or fantasizing about that moment, just because I don't think that you'll be in the right mindset if that's the moment you're waiting for. Because I think if a guy doesn't treat you right, the thing you can't be thinking about when it comes to him is, oh, I'm waiting for that moment where he tells me how amazing I am and how much he misses me and made a mistake. You have to be thinking to yourself, I'm glad I'm over that and done with that. I'm going to learn as much as I can learn from that and then take that to meet the actual person that I'm going to end up with. And you can't be thinking about him as some sort of like movie scene where eventually he's going to come back and tell you this big, just no, move forward with your life, not backwards. Okay. No circles for you, at least if you're not going to be part of the Players Club.
Okay. What about texting? So here's the thing that you need to understand. Any form of communication with a woman gives a man validation. It boosts his ego. It boosts his self-esteem, okay? Because here's the thing, when they speak to women, they feel good. So any form of communication with a woman, a man is going to be like feeling on top of the world, okay? So when they're having these texting sessions with you, they are siphoning your energy. They are siphoning your energy because as a woman, you are naturally giving. You are naturally...
That includes dirty talk sessions and sexting.
Nurturing. You have that nurturing feminine energy, and that man feels it when he's in these texting sessions with you. Yes. Okay? So the more energy you're giving a man, the less energy he's going to give you. Okay? The more you're pouring into him, the less he's going to pour into you. But guess what? He's still getting his supply. He's still getting his supply. That's why so many of you message me saying, oh, I keep texting this guy and we keep talking on the phone, but he still won't like lock in a date with me.
Okay. I was actually thinking about making a show on this today. Should I have a show tomorrow on how to text men to get a date out of them? Because obviously, like, I advise you guys not to be on dating apps, but a lot of you are on dating apps. So do you guys want me to have a show? Because obviously I say don't text, but reality, you're going to have to text sometimes to do some things. So if you guys want a whole show on how to text to get a date, then we can do that. Maybe not tomorrow, because tomorrow there won't be a show, but we can do that on Wednesday, if that's what you guys really want, okay?
One thing...
Okay,
let's listen to the rest of what she said here. We'll listen to
See, ladies, a lot of men don't even need to go out and meet women for them to feel good. Some of them have relationships over WhatsApp. There's men out there who are literally in relationships with women just over the phone. And guess what? That's enough for them. That is enough for them. That makes them feel good. That ticks all their boxes and they're happy. They don't need to do the work. They don't need to invest, you know. They don't need to worry about like having those responsibilities of being in a committed relationship. No.
I'll tell you this, okay, we'll have a little bit of an honest conversation. You know, this is our little honesty segment. We know we get close here. We have chats here. I'm going to tell you a little bit of honesty. Don't repeat this back to any of your friends. Don't discuss this with anyone outside of the Players Club. Okay, so there can be kind of I guess we could say a system that a lot of men will use here. So you have the girls that you message, right? These are more casually, you'll message them. In the process of some of these girls that you message for fun and just for vibes, some of these girls you're going to message you're going to sex them, okay? And so you're going to be dirty talking back and forth with them, whatever the case may be, a little bit. Maybe those girls send you some Snapchat wank material for you to use, or they send you some pictures that you can put in your spank bank, make a reference. That's a reference to something we've discussed earlier in the Players Club, if you know, you know, or spank tank, I should say. And after they do that, they'll be like, okay, yeah, I have those girls there. Then they'll have, you know, maybe one or two girls that they have physical connections with. For most guys who aren't like super attractive and super charismatic, it's going to be very difficult to like juggle a roster of more than even like two. So it's usually going to be 1 to 2 girls that they have a physical relationship with at the time that they can at least, you know, casually sleep with sometimes. And that will basically be outside of that, them wanking off to corn videos. That will kind of be the circle, I was going to say circle of life, but the circle or the system in play here. So sometimes you can be in a situation where you're the girl that he's just sexting and he's just chatting with casually with no real intention of ever seeing you, because the physical part is met by a different person. And then obviously every now and again, he'll have his wank videos that he'll watch. You know what I mean? So you have to understand the best thing for you to do when texting, obviously, ideally, you wouldn't have to spend any time texting, but you never want to give, and that'll be, when we talk about this in the show, I'll be talking about this there as well in more detail. You never want to make texting with you feel like the end goal. You almost, in a weird way, you have to make texting just enjoyable enough that he's looking forward to something, but not so enjoyable that he feels like, oh, this is all I need. I know it sounds weird, but I'll explain it when we do the whole show on it. But it's got to be a very fine line in order for it to work correctly, because you have to escalate the texting into something else. You can't be thinking of texting as the thing that's going to hook him. It will never hook him. But you can use it to get to the place where you can hook him with all the strategies that I teach you.
One thing I hate is knowing the genuine true version of somebody, and they're actually a terrible person, but nobody knows that. Like, they have so much support and so much love, but no one really knows who they truly are as a person, because they don't know them in like real life how you do. Some people genuinely do not deserve the flowers y'all give them. Like, they're terrible people, and y'all will never know that because they only portray one side of themselves on the internet. So it's like, I don't know, like, I hate having to bite my tongue, like, oh my gosh. But some of y'all will never know. And I don't want people thinking like, oh, you still care, all that stuff. I don't. It's just like, y'all give love to the wrong people on this app, and it's completely fine. Do what you want. But like, dang, I wish y'all knew. I wish y'all.
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this, but, you know, you can only control what you can control. My advice to you, if you step into the Players Club, worry about yourself, your needs, your wants, your desires. I know sometimes you might think to yourself, oh, he's such a terrible guy. Every other girl should know how much of a terrible guy he... Take your information, move forward with your life, and focus your energy and time on the people who matter to you that you care about. I know you might meet a guy that's so horrible you want to tell the entire world about, outside of a few horrific things he could do. Okay, then you got to tell people. But if a guy's just mistreating you casually or just being disrespectful in a way that's not like, you know, breaking the law, then just go ahead and move yourself forward. Don't be so focused on trying to ruin his life, trying to let everyone know, trying to let the next girl know. When you're smart and you're intelligent and you get it, it'll be very easy for you to spot the men that you don't want to be with. Unfortunately, for the other women who are not in the Players Club, ain't no amount of conversation you could have with them or tell them about, or stories or horror stories that would keep them away from certain guys. So don't think that you're saving anyone's life by warning the next girl, because the next girl, if she likes him enough, she ain't gonna give a damn. And you're just going to be wasting a lot of your time, energy, and breath trying to show them something they never want to see.
Ladies, let me holler at y'all. Guys know that they lost the real one when he tries to stay in contact, okay? Because when a guy tries to keep in contact with you after y'all have broken up, or, you know, it's been...
There's no way his beard's that clean. That's hate by me. That's hate. I'm hating. There's no way his beer is that clean, though. It's very crisp. That strikes me as Beijing, or whatever you call it. That artificial line. That's too straight.
It's been a while since y'all have actually dated. He knows that you were never the problem. It was always him. So from that point on, he'll always live with that internal guilt, knowing that he is the one that messed the relationship up. But he's not going to come back because he realized that he messed up and he misses you. He's going to come back because he's hoping that you will be stupid enough to...
That's hate because I can't grow a beard.
...actually let him spin the block. And you see, his intentions are never pure. He will even go as far as trying to be friends with you just so that he can get you in a vulnerable state to where you will give him another chance again. And you see, once you decide to give him another chance, he is going to use this to his advantage because he's going to know how much he can push you until you are at your limit. It's like if he cheated on you before and got caught and you took him back, he's going to cheat on you again, but he's going to be even more sneakier the second time. And not only this is also another reason why when y'all will try to tell a guy to unfollow a girl and he decides that he wants to make an argument, it's because he still has a tie to this girl and he wishes, what if it would have worked out, but it didn't. So from there on out, he's going to try to keep any line of communication open just in case she allows for him to actually come back and be with her. You see the sad reality.
The other thing I add too is, see, I always tell you guys, friendship is a sham, especially friendship with exes, okay? And there's something, when I was younger, I used to be so confused about this. I really actually went searching for answers. I went around my whole campus and I was asking people because I just didn't know what to believe. But I eventually came to the conclusion, it's a scam, okay? It's a sham, it's a ruse. The wool's been pulled over your eyes, you've been bamboozled, because guys who want to be friends with you after they date you, they're looking to downgrade you. And by downgrade you, I mean when you're a girlfriend and he has to be committed to you and loyal to you and he has to actually live up to some standards. When you guys can break up, but then he can still have you around afterwards, it's very easy to fall back into girlfriend behavior. But what do you think happens when you go home? He's single now. And when he tells girls he's single, he's not lying. Or when when people see him with his ex, he can still say, oh, well, we're not together no more. And so those complicated situations that have you going back and forth and you think you just can't get rid of this guy or you just love him so bad, you love each other so bad. Yeah, he's digging out some other girls too so bad. Very bad. And they're real involved. Real involved. Jackrabbiting real deep. Okay, so it's not really all it's crept up to be, especially when you realize that you've lost the title and you're still investing the same amount into a guy who's now doing his own thing. Not very cute then. Not very demure then.
Guys, if someone's literally willing to lose you, let them stand on that decision. Let them stand on that decision. They're okay with never seeing you again, never hearing from you again, not being with you again. Let them stand on that decision. It's so true. Just let them. Let me tell you something. Someone that really values you and values your presence and values you in their life, I promise you, would never gamble your presence, like ever. Wouldn't even cross their minds. And it's literally not your job to literally teach someone or make someone appreciate your presence in their life. If they can't see it from the get-go, then that's their loss. It applies for friendships, relationships, and family members. Guys, if someone's literally willing to lose you, let them stand on that decision.
This seems like a secret plot to show us her nails, that we see how good her nail tech is. I think that was the secret flex behind the video. But aside from that, in terms of the message, I think the message is accurate for both relationships and friendships. And I always advise you, spend your time and energy in places that matter. Anytime you go through a situation with a person and you realize that, whether it be a friend or a boyfriend, and you realize that your time and energy is not best spent here because it's not moving forward in any direction that you want to be, then you immediately take your energy back, give it back to yourself, and then eventually you invest it in someone that is showing you what you want and expect in your future. Because you should always be thinking about how to make future you happy, not present you. Because if you think about how to make future you happy, you're going to be making a lot different decisions than the decisions you'll make for your present, current happiness. Because those will all be based off emotions, and emotions, they come and go.
You can be the richest man in the world, you'll still be cropped out of the Instagram photos. You'll still be cropped out of the Instagram photos. Richest man in the world, still cropped out. We all know rule 3 of Jack Mack's rules to live by, and that is love is war. Love is war. And I can't think of a better example than this right here. Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, owns Amazon, owns Washington Post, owns God knows how many politicians. You name it, he owns it. Cropped out by Lauren Sanchez. Cropped out. She may not mean anything by this. This is in the midst of a photo dump. But it's a reminder to all the men out there, you can be the richest man in the world. You're still going to get cropped out of the Instagram photos. You can be the richest man in the world, and love is still war. So stay on your P's and Q's.
It is still war. So the reason I say that is because, I mean, we obviously guys having money increases their value, but you can still be lame and have money. It's not really like, it's not one-to-one. Doesn't mean because you have money that, I'm not saying Jeff Bezos is lame by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying that the idea that being rich is all that will get women and girls for men, that's just not how it works. The same way as a woman, being beautiful only is not the only way you're going to get and keep men. You can't just be beautiful and rely on that as your way of getting and keeping men. The same way you can't just be rich and powerful and rely on that as your only way of keeping and attracting women. You still, as a man, you still have to be charismatic, you still have to be interesting, you still have to be able to have good conversation and be a little bit funny, at least a little bit funny. Okay, you don't have to be Kevin Hart, you just got to be a little bit funny and interesting. So if you're not that, but you're just rich, it's not going to necessarily mean you're going to get everything you want in life as a guy. So I don't know. I guess maybe he believes that. I don't know.
Are y'all listening to this black cat energy nonsense? I'm going to tell you something right now. You can date a man, be in a situationship with a man for years with that mess, and he is going to leave you for a woman who is kind, not a doormat. Don't get it twisted. A man may be attracted to that. He'll chase that, but he will not settle down and marry that. Why? Because men ultimately want a nurturing woman. How a man often decides whether or not he's going to ask you to marry him is the way you nurture. And I don't mean you become his mother, and I don't mean you're the one driving the relationship or anything like that. You just genuinely have a warm, nurturing heart. I watched this interview where all of these guys were asked how they decided to ask their wife to marry them. And over and over and over and over again, they told the story of basically the same girl. It was this wonderful, warm, vivacious woman who had her own life, who made their life better just by being who she was. And there was a moment where something kind of catastrophic happened in their life, like their parent got sick or their child got sick, they lost their job, something like that happened. And in that moment, that warm, vivacious, fun, effervescent woman that was just this fountain of life and wonderfulness in their life was nurturing in a way that literally in the interview made them still get choked up. It was something simple. She found that I was homesick and she made soup and brought me soup. Little things like that. She did this thing for my mom. She did this thing for my child, and she was just so kind to my child. It's these little things that make a man see you in this long-term way. So this whole standoffish, I want you when I want you and I don't want you and I don't want you, confusing. I'm gonna tell you something. You can do that if you want to. You can do that if you want to. And to me, that is a recipe for loneliness. Period. Are y'all listening to this black?
So, it's funny because what she's saying is not untrue, but it's not factoring in, first of all, the modern dating world, right? The world that us live in right now that are dating. And then number two, also the fact that there's timelines to everything, meaning there's there's a time and place for everything that you're going to be doing. So black cat energy that you do at the beginning of a relationship when you don't even know the guy and you're going on a first date is different than the black cat energy you're going to be using when you're in the relationship, or you're 8 months into the relationship, or even 3 or 4 months into the relationship, right? Because your plan and approach is constantly adjusting based on the information that you have at the time and the place you're at the time. It would be like me saying, oh, you're going to have conversation with a guy the same way you would on a first date that you would when you've been dating them for 8 years and you go out on a date. Your conversation is going to be different. The things you talk about is going to be different. The depth you go into things is going to be different. Your knowledge and understanding of each other is going to be different. So the way you approach the relationship is going to be different, or the date, I should say, is going to be different from the way you approach the date when you first started dating. That doesn't make either one of those stages bad or horrible or wrong. It just means that your strategy and your approach changes as things change. So it's the same thing with black cat energy. Your black cat energy isn't always going to be, oh, standoffish. I never talk to you, never communicate with you. I completely ignore you when you've been married for 8 years and you're going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. Right? You're not going to be in a real relationship if you do that. But it's also not thinking to yourself, oh, if I do like what she just described, oh my God, guys married girls that brought them soup. Oh, so this guy that hasn't been texting me has basically been aloof and ignoring me and not reaching out to me or calling me and been doing his own thing. Let me show up at his door with a bowl of soup because I know he's been a little bit under the weather, but he hasn't been texting me in the past 2 weeks. That's what's going to, throw a wave over him and make him realize that he wants to marry. That's not how that works. So there's a balance here. And the balance is understanding when is the appropriate time to apply different strategies, which is why we have so many shows, because there's so many different strategies and there's so many different time periods to apply those different strategies. It's not just saying, oh, I'm going to have black cat energy and I'm going to do it the exact same way I would do it on a first date as I would do it if I was dating someone for 10 years. That don't make a damn bit of sense. And that's not how life works. You have to use discernment to not be able to just say, okay, I just want to take information and just apply it instantly and I want it to work perfect for me. You have to take information in and figure out, where am I in my life? What are my needs? Where do I want to go? And how do I apply information and strategies for what I'm actually doing right now and where I'm actually trying to go in the future? Okay, that's how you actually strategize, not just hear someone say this, and say that, and then do exactly that, thinking that your life's going to change in an instant. That don't work like that.
I have a question for the pretty girls. Why? Why? There's a girl in my life, a member of my family who I'm very close to, and she just started college, and she's beautiful. 10 out of 10. She's smart, she's kind, confident, and I thought, this girl's gonna go off into the world, and she's gonna like build an empire. I mean, she has it all. And it did not take this girl 1 month in college to find a Muppet that treats her like crap to be down bad about. And it hit me.
That's college for you. College life.
That every pretty girl I know has some Muppet that treats them badly, that they're down bad about. Some of them are married to these Muppets. So tell me why. Because for me, someone who's been morbidly obese my entire life, you know, I would look at these girls and be like, oh my God, if I just looked like that, I would bring kings to their knees. But every beautiful girl I know lets people treat her so badly. Not a single one of them knows the power they have. I've never understood it. I don't get it. I need some pretty girls to stitch this. I need you to tell me why you are with these Muppets, because the rest of us are over here. We're confused. We are so confused. We need an explanation.
I have an explanation, but I'm curious what you guys think because you're all women. So what do you think for yourself? If you're one of the pretty girls she's addressing in this video, what do you think is the reason you go for the Muppet despite being a drop dead gorgeous, amazing woman that can have anything that she wants? Okay, what is your answer to that? Your answer to her, I should say. Someone says daddy issues. Nora also says daddy issues. Someone says no support, don't know their own value, traumas, desperation, low self-esteem. The Muppet must be very good looking. Big D, okay. Low self-esteem, money, interesting. Okay, too nice and naive. All right, I'm gonna tell you guys what I think, what my hypothesis is, okay? My theory. See, love is a very interesting thing. When you build relationships and you're young and you're more naive, we're all young and naive at one point. You start off from a place where you like to be stimulated. I'm not talking about stimulating by DJing yourself. I'm talking about stimulation of the mind. When you're young, you're still figuring out who you are and how you fit into the world. Not uncommon. As you're figuring that out, you're trying to figure out where do you want to channel your energy and your focus. It's very hard to just focus on one thing. Even in life, when you become successful in your career, you're successful in one specific niche, one area of life. Nursing, the medical field, you're a police officer, you're a firefighter, you're a dancer, you're an actress, whatever it is. You're an expert in one particular field. So before you can get to that, you have to kind of figure out where you want to focus your energy. As you get into your young adult ages, your college years and things like that, you start to, in your relationships, look for things that will stimulate you because you don't have a lot of places to focus your energy despite going to school and stuff, right? Because school can be a very passive experience if you're not really passionate about what you're doing. And so when you get into your college years, you start dating people that give you the most stimulus. And the people who give you the most stimulus are the cool frat boys who say crazy things. They do crazy things. They're jumping off of rooftops. They're not texting you back. They're ignoring you, all this other stuff because of two things. One, it stimulates your mind because you're constantly trying to decipher information and trying to understand that guy. That in itself is stimulating and it makes you feel alive because every day is like a new challenge. Okay. And every day you have to figure this out. How do I get him to text me more? How do I get him to ask me out on a date? How do I get him to pay attention to me? How do I get this? How do I get that? So on one side, it's stimulating your mind from that sense. It's also stimulating because you actually, and this is going to sound very weird, you actually have closer friendships and bonds with other women because you can spend a lot of time passionately talking about this guy that's mistreating you. It sounds very weird, but when you're getting mistreated by a guy with your other girlfriends, subsequently, a lot of times you have the most to talk about. Because when you and her sit down, girl, I got to tell you about what this and that did. Girl, look at this message. I got to show you these screenshots. And she's waiting there like, oh my God, I can't wait for she's like, she's living right now. When you tell her you got a situation, she's, we got to eat some good food. We got to sit down. We got to prepare. What are we doing here? I want to know everything. Tell me everything. And it's like a movie. It's like part of the entertainment. And it sounds silly in itself, but then you start to think to yourself, if when you have horrible relationships with a guy, that becomes the most interesting time in your life, and you have the closest bond with your girlfriends because you have the most to talk about at those times, then think about it. It makes actually a lot of sense to be in horrible relationships because they're mentally stimulating, and then they also bring you closer to your girlfriends because you have so much to talk about. You get to show them screenshots. They get to decipher information with you. You guys are planning your own course of attack and your counterattacks and all that other stuff. If you have a healthy relationship with a guy who loves you and treats you well, it's not that mentally stimulating. So now you have to focus your time and energy on something else, okay, which you're still in the process of figuring out because you're young at that time. And then number two, when you're with your girlfriends, I mean, what are you going to talk about now, right? Hypothetically, if you're in the perfect relationship, what are you going to show screenshots for? It's just him being healthy and giving you clarity. What are you going to talk about in terms of your dates? They're all just good. There's no stressful situation, no crazy, circumstance that is going to just blow her out of the water. So you start to have to, I'm not saying that that's all your life is, but then you start to have to figure out, what is my life and what is my focus and where does my energy go if it doesn't go into a guy who's treating me horribly? And that's like a really, and it's not just girls that go through that, guys go through that as well, but it's a very difficult thing to kind of decipher and figure out for yourself. And I'm just making it, that's just a theory, so I could be completely wrong. But that's just my theory in terms of why that ends up happening to all of the prettiest girls, right? And I don't even think that that's even necessarily a pretty girl thing. I think that most girls find themselves in situations like that a lot, okay? Nicole Cottom donates $5. She says, you are 100% correct. The challenge and stimulation with dealing with the Muppet will hold you in the relationship way longer than first intended. Thank you. So, I mean, maybe it does have some truth to it. That was a hypothesis by me based on things I've observed and questions I've asked and things like that, because on the surface, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But when you think about what we need mentally and what we find interesting and fascinating, especially when you're young, you're always going to gravitate to things that make you feel alive. You're not going to gravitate to things that are very mundane or boring. Not that nice guys or healthy relationships are boring, but if you don't have anywhere else to channel your energy, then it's going to be you're going to feel very uncomfortable just being in a healthy relationship that doesn't require any extra thought or focus or energy in itself, right?
Something a coworker said to me once that literally changed my whole perspective, and now I do this to everybody who's ever going through a breakup, is I got on a meeting with him and he was like, hey, like, how are you doing, whatever, and I told him, I was like, like, we broke up, and he was like, oh, congratulations. And I was like, what? And he was like, I hate when people say, like, I'm so sorry. He was like, obviously, if you broke up, that's not your person. Congratulations, you're one step closer to finding that, like, your person. And I was like, that is so good. Like, that is so good. My friend the other day was like, oh yeah, like, blah, 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 I'm going through a breakup. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let you know, congratulations. And I, like, passed on that little nugget of information because I was like, hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. Something a coworker.
What was that? Yeah, I agree with this, actually. I agree with this concept in itself, because every day not spent with someone who's not who you're looking for is another day that you can spend with the love of your life that you will eventually find if you give yourself the time and space to find that person by not spending it with the person who you don't need to be with. That's why as soon as you see that a situation doesn't serve you anymore and you stop seeing the light in terms of seeing the outcome of you actually being in a relationship with this person, or they never even wanted that in the first place, you just move forward. You can't keep moving backwards and thinking to yourself, but I'm not going to find anybody else, but I'm lonely right now, but this, but that, because future you will be happiest if you can spend the maximum amount of time with the person who actually will treat you well and is the guy that you're looking for. Not the happiest by going in circles with the same guy over and over again that it ain't worked once with. Excuse me. Okay, right? But I like that video. I like that. All right, chat. Let's hop into our next segment of the day. For those of you who are OG Player Club members, you should know what segment is coming. Spam it up in the chat if you know what segment is coming. It's a very special time. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone, and don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. It's Discord time. Okay, chat, let's hop right into our Discord segment of the show. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to explain this to you right now. So Discord time is essentially where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few ways for you to send in your question, and I'm going to explain all of them to you right now. The first way is to access our free relationship advice forum, which you can do by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. When you get into our relationship advice forum, you can add in your question there. Just make sure you format it similar to how everyone else has formatted their question. But as you can see here, there are other highlighted questions that I haven't gotten to yet because this is a first come, first serve forum. I answer the questions in the order that they get sent in. So if you send, wow, we have a lot to go. If you send in your question today, yeah, we have a lot to do. If you send in your question today, unfortunately, it's going to take me probably a couple weeks to get to yours because we have a lot here in the in our relationship advice forum, in our free forum. So if you're someone who you have a question for me and you want me to answer it on the show, but you're very impatient, you don't have time to wait as long as it's going to take me to get through all of these because I'm not going to be able to get through all of them on one show, then you can send in our what's called Discord Premium relationship advice question here. Now, the way that this works is when you go into the link in my bio on TikTok or you go into my description, you click where it says relationship advice Premium, right? Discord Relationship Advice Premium. And then you click that and it's going to prompt you to donate to the show. And when you donate to the show, it's also going to ask you to send in your Discord username and the title of your question. Then when you do that, after you send it in and it confirms, it's going to send you to our premium relationship advice form. If it doesn't send you there through a link, then you can just go there here where it says premium relationship advice. Then you can drop your question in there because once you donate it to the show, it'll send me a notification and it'll say that that's you, that's your username, and that's your question. And then I'll be able to verify that your question should be in here and you're not trying to be sneaky. Okay. So you can put in your question that way. And this way you get to skip the line of people because I read these questions out before I go into the free section. So it's like a skip the line pass. All right. For those of you also who want to send me in a question, but you don't want to wait, you don't want to have your information read out on the show. Maybe you're a more private person. That's fine. You can also send me our private relationship advice question. This is in our Discord here. It's also available in my TikTok bio or the link in my description. Click where it says private relationship advice. And then when you click that, you can ask me a question. You type away as much as you want to type. And then when you send it in to me, I respond with like an 8 to 10 minute voice message and I send it to your email. Okay. But no one else sees it except for me. So you have all of those options there. Let's get started with our first question of the day, which is our premium question that comes from Pumpkin. Okay, we're going to start off like this, I guess. Okay. Digmatized, horned up for directionless devil PP, please help. Okay, then we're going to have this type of day chat. All right, just buckle up. All right, just buckle up. This is going to, I'm already accepting we're going to have this type of day. Hi, Tomisin. I am suffering from PP withdrawals. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna. Okay, you know what? We haven't started yet. I'm gonna stretch because I know I'm gonna need my best self to show up for this type of question here. I'm gonna stretch just because I know I'm gonna need all my wits with me. I'm gonna need my patience here. I'm gonna need a lot of things mentally. So I'm gonna do a little bit of downward dog, just a little bit of stretching. These type of things take patience, and clearly, Pumpkin's trying to warn me that this takes some patience here. Okay. Okay. I'm suffering from PP withdrawals. Unfortunately, the man it belongs to is content to keep me lost in confusion, directionless circles, and not make me feel like a real priority or build a future with me. I know this 100%. I know I struggle with self-love and feeling securely attached and fiend validation enough. He is emotionally immature, lives with his mom, who relies on him for emotional support. Who he relies on for emotional support and financial support. And has a long-term phantom ex situationship he declares is just his best friend. Wow, you found a guy with like this trifecta. He's like hitting all the points. He's with his mom for financial support, and he's got a phantom ex, right? It just means an ex that doesn't ever go away. And this phantom ex is his best friend. How did you actually, like, you won the lottery in the opposite sense? This is like you found the worst of all qualities. That's crazy. These people are his top priorities, and on top of that, he has dozens of unfinished house, car, and boat projects that require extensive time and money to complete. So he doesn't even have time in his day to do anything else. He lives in Squalor. Where is this? Is this somewhere in the UK? Squalor. His house is filthy. I have no hope for a future relationship here. My problem is I crave pineapples from him. The pineapples are off the charts amazing. I won't get graphic with the details of this, but I am so attracted to him, over the moon, I can't hold my water around him. I swear I've never been pineappled so perfectly. I've never enjoyed pineapples before meeting this man. I have the most beautiful, clean body and head highs after my fun times, my climaxes are more like heart maxes. Why did you say my beautiful clean body? Why are you writing it like that? Why are you trying to make me picture something? The feeling is unlike anything I've ever felt. I feel weightless. Just give me a bit. I feel weightless floating above my own body for hours when we are done doing it. I've become hooked on this man's attunement to my body. It feels like home. It helps with my anxiety, I'm sure it does, and displaced energy, I'm sure it does. I enjoy being with him so much, and I want him to just live inside of me. That's what we're doing today. This is what we're doing today. Okay, you know, I'm a guy, right? So I don't know what it's like to be a girl. I don't know what it's like to get penetrated. Tell me, is this making sense to some of you? Like, I mean, from the standpoint of, have you ever been in this position before? Like, is what she's saying feelings that you've ever felt in your life before? I'm just curious, because she seems like she's going through a spiritual experience here. Is this like, does this speak to you or resonate with you? How can I get past wanting this D? I've tried multiple times to end it, blocking him, deleting, and going no contact, telling him it's over. He keeps coming back, and I don't know how to find the strength to say no and F off. How can he come back if you're blocking and deleting him? How does he come back from that? Does he show up at your place, or are you unblocking him? He keeps his boat at my place of work. What? And works on the other customers' boats as well. So what are you doing? You're looking out the window while he's working on a boat, imagining getting penetrated by him in the boat? What are you doing? What do you mean? He's working on the boat. You have no self-control, you know, whatever. I know I sound weak. Yeah, you do. But I feel like I need to be D'd down regularly to feel chemically balanced. Thank you for your advice to my problem. What was the question? Okay. Pumpkin. Okay. First things first, and seize the day, says it. You need that Tracy's dog sucking vibe. It's not a joke though. You really do. You need that desperately. You might have to get extra attachments. Okay. I'm going to make this very simple for you. You're going to go, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching it on TikTok, go to YouTube. Because on YouTube, when you go into the description, you're going to see Tracy's dog, you're going to see toys. It's just titled toys. You're going to click on the link that says Tracy's dog clitoral sucking vibe version 3. It should say OG3 or something, version 3. You're going to get that one. The reason I want you to get version 3 is because that one has a detachable head that will suck on you like a rose would. Okay, if you know what a rose is, you know what I'm talking about. And it also has a vibing part that will go inside you and there's 10 different settings. Okay, I believe on that one. Yeah, 10 to 15 on that, on the third one. There's 10 different settings. They're all amazing. Trust me. Don't ask me how I know. And you will enjoy that. Whether you're a penetration type of girl, whether you're clit type of girl, whatever type of girl you are, you will enjoy that vibe. No pun intended. And that should hold you at least while you're dating people and finding better relationships. I know it's never going to be the same as actually getting penetrated for you, because clearly you're an addict, but it's very important that you have something that can at least give you some sort of feeling of peace, just enough for you to hold yourself while you look for good relationships. The reason I say that and I give you that advice and I'm telling you to go to that link is not for no reason. That is literally by my own research. Okay, we'll say it like that. My own research, that is the best possible vibe you can get. There's nothing better. Okay. And I'm telling you this from experience, extensive research that I tried to do for all of you. And I'm saying that you should get that because that will at least give you the feeling of release that you need on a regular basis and enjoyment, regardless of what you're into, that you can at least move forward and start dating guys from a more analytical standpoint rather than just focusing on what you feel like you need in that moment. Okay. And I really mean that. It's honestly, pumpkin. It's not a joke. I'm saying this like really because clearly you being horned up is affecting your ability to have good relationships. So if you're in that state, or you're a girl, for those of you who are watching, if you're a girl where when you're horned up or you're ovulating, you turn into a monster and you can't think straight or make good decisions, you have to rather than just saying, oh, when I'm horned up, I'll just make better decisions. That's not going to work for you. You have to actually put some structure in place that will force you to make better decisions. So if that means when you're ovulating or you're super horned up, you don't go out on dates at all, then you may have to do that. And it sounds funny, but if you get that worked up that you can't control yourself, you don't even tempt yourself by just saying, oh, I'll go out on a date even though I'm ovulating and I feel like there's a monster inside my pants, right? Because as soon as you go out on that date and you see a guy and he's funny and he's charming, he's got a nice smile and he can make you laugh, well, now you're super soaked. And then if he starts touching on you or feeling on you in a particular way, you're going to lose your mind and you're not going to be able to make good decisions, whether you wanted to at the beginning or not. So it's better to realize that as the truth and figure out how you can work around that instead of thinking that, oh, I'm just going to make it so that it's not a thing. It's always going to be a thing if you're that type of woman. So if you have that problem of making good decisions when you're in that state of mind, for you, pumpkin, definitely avoid any days that you're ovulating. Might as well shut off the phone, close the computer, don't talk to no one. Just you need like a brick phone. You need like a flip phone that you can barely contact people for the days that you're ovulating. Because the days you're ovulating, you're going to be messaging him like crazy. You're not going to have any self-control. So that's number one. No dates for you, no messaging for you when you're ovulating. Number one. Okay. Number two, I need you, pumpkin. You need to stay off of Snapchat because I know when you get horned up, one of the easiest places to express your horned upness is Snapchat because you can send people photos. You're going to be sending this guy a whole bunch of photos with your pants at your ankles, and it's not going to end up good for you. You're just going to be more horned up, sending him more photos, and it's going to make everything spiral out of control. Okay. So you need to stay off of certain apps. In general, and then you also need to stay away from his communication with him when you're ovulating, and just even in general in your dating life. Get that toy, I really mean that, so you can curb some of your hunger for being penetrated and at least feel a little bit subdued, okay? Even if you have to do till you DJ yourself till you get to 8 climaxes. If that's what you need to feel like, okay, I got it out of my system and I'm climaxed out, do that. Then you go out and go about your day. At least then you'll have some of it out of you and it'll be harder to be in such deep desire for it. And I really mean that. Because other than that, there ain't nothing you can do here. Because clearly you don't have the self-control. So I'm trying to help you gain some self-control. And that's really the only advice I can give you. Because clearly, me just saying you shouldn't do it is not going to help you. It's probably going to make you more horned up and make you want to do it more because I told you not to. Let's hop into our next question. All right. This one comes from Moni. How to recognize good men. Hi, Tomisin. Recently, I dated a guy for 4 months. In the end, I broke up with him for many reasons. Okay. Maybe you could confirm where I made mistakes. Can't change the title of this post. Okay. We dated long distance, several hours, and he came to NYC every weekend to see his family as well as me. So I knew that he came for his family mainly and not just me. I broke up with him for the first time after 2 dates. What? You only dated for 2 dates? What? Because the conversation was too focused on passion, intimacy, and seemed unserious. So you're talking about like sexual passion, not like passion in life, I'm assuming. Was I too fast? Later, I broke up with him, you meant to say, mainly because he rarely took me out on dates. But you only went on 2 dates. What? I'm confused. And you dated him for 4 months? How? Okay. Was I too fast? He said he wanted to be loved for his personality and not his money. Don't all guys? But I met some of his friends and he texted regularly. I'm confused. Okay, what are you saying by that? I hated simple good morning, good night texts because it gave no substance. Calls were short and not deep. I did not feel emotionally connected to him, you mean? I told him many times that I felt rejected, but he didn't understand what I needed. I'm confused here. What did you feel rejected about? You're saying that he was sending you good morning and good night texts, but you just didn't feel like that was your vibe. It wasn't deep enough. But what were you feeling rejected about? I'm confused here. Was I asking too much? You're describing the situation to me, and I'm confused about what's going on here. Because I don't, what is the part where you feel rejected though? I get it, you guys didn't go on many dates, but I'm confused where you're feeling rejected by what he's doing. I'm confused. I always had anxiety, clearly. For example, he would say he'd let me know when he's in the city to meet, but then I wouldn't hear from him. A basic message to say he can't make it is all I needed. He said I had high expectations. We did not sleep together, but were somewhat intimate. From his side, he said he lost trust when I kept breaking up over little things and didn't like seeing me on dating apps. Clearly, he was browsing too towards the end and never asked for exclusivity. I didn't date anyone else, but he never deleted the app. I think you meant to say. Okay, Moni. I'm going to try and address this based on what I feel like you're trying to ask me here, because I'm a little bit confused, but I'm going to try and answer this for what I feel like you want answered. In this situation here, there's something very important that I want you to know about yourself and just in general for when you continue dating. You live in NYC, okay? So you live in the biggest city in North America. I say that to say it's a very important understanding to have when you're dating people, especially if you're dating someone who lives several hours away from you, especially if that person that lives several hours away from you has money, right? What I mean by that is you're living in a hub where a lot of people go to for fun, for work, for business, for opportunities, for family, for all of that stuff. So the reason I'm saying that is you can start to feel like sometimes guys will do this thing where they will see you when it's convenient for them. And if you happen to be someone that lives in a place where he spends some of his time, he'll talk to you not because he actually wants to build with you, but he'll talk to you as a way of having you there and ready, like, Little Caesar's Pizza, how it's hot and ready, that you're hot and ready for him. That if he wants to have a girlfriend, he can go to NYC and have a girlfriend. If he wants to have an F buddy, he can go to NYC and have an F buddy. If he wants to just have a vibe and just kick back and relax and have someone come over to his Airbnb, he can have you come over to his Airbnb, just kick back and relax. So it's quite convenient to have you positioned in a place where he can date you and kind of put you in a place where you kind of think it's serious, just enough that you drop anything for him anytime he came to NYC. I'm assuming because he has some money and he's probably successful in his career, he probably also has some sort of business, or at the very least, he likes to have fun in NYC and spend some money, okay? F off some money. So I say that to say you're in the biggest city in North America, and I don't think that you're realizing that part of the reason I think he's seeing you or even just trying to see you is because he wants to turn you into his NYC girlfriend. Now, that's different from making you his actual girlfriend, because if he wanted to make you his actual girlfriend, there would be more consistency from him, and I don't think there would be as much confusion between the two of you. And especially when we talk about dating apps, there is no better version of a dating app than a dating app in NYC, because you can quite literally meet a different person every day and go on a date with someone new every day of the week for the rest of your life if you live in NYC. So I say that to say, I think that part of the unseriousness doesn't necessarily stem from something that you did or didn't do. I think it more stems from the mentality that he brought into a relationship with you, from the standpoint of, because you lived in the biggest city in North America and he didn't live in that city, he was already going to spend his time in that city for fun or for family or for whatever the case may be. And he wanted you to be like a thing that was available to him whenever he went to that city. I'm just being honest with you. And it's not just you that this happens to. This happens to a lot of girlies that live in big cities, because when you live in a big city hub, or you live in a place where this guy has, work or business to do, guys like to turn the girls that they meet on those business trips or those, work trips into part-time girlfriends. But they never actually want to actually really invest in them. They just want them to be hot and ready like Little Caesar's Pizza and be available when it's time for them to be available. But you're going to be frustrated because at other times you'll feel like he doesn't care, which I don't think in this case he did. So my advice to you here is let this go. I don't think that this really serves you in any way, shape, or form. Because if he's on dating apps, clearly he's telling you how he really feels about exclusivity or being with just you. Okay, especially not living 4 hours away from the biggest city in North America. Okay, let's go on to our. Oops, I missed the premium one here. Let's go on to our next question here. Okay, this one comes from Beliza, and she says, how to end with dignity. Hi, Tomisin. At the beginning, I want to inform you that my English is not my first language, all right? So I hope you will understand my massage. Little background, I'm new on the dating market. However, I'm going to try and, use my inferencing to understand what you're trying to say. However, I am quite old, 39. I had some relationships that were long lasting for many years, but even I am single at this age. I am not I am happy to not have stayed with those men. Since I am single from 2020, it's been very difficult for me. I didn't know your YouTube channel, so I made many mistakes. When I am listening to your lives, I feel really stupid. It's okay. Once you feel that, you'll realize, okay, these are the adjustments I need to make, and you'll be better because of it. Since 2020, I met some guys that knew how to take advantage of me. I am a typical nice girl, probably also a pick-me-sha too. For someone who doesn't understand English, you understand a lot of the terminologies that we discuss here, okay? Every time someone ghosted me or started to ghost me, I was quite hurt. I was hurt quite long, but tried to move on by knowing someone new. The scheme was always working. I also saw that a lot of these guys, after some time, always came back. Some of them were claiming that they didn't realize at the time how good I was for them. Others were referring to different BS. One of them even called himself an idiot. That can be a version, it's like a version of manipulation, just because when he says that about himself, it makes you feel sorry for him. It's like, you'll be like, damn, maybe you're not that bad. I never gave any of those men a chance to come back. Once I lose feelings, I don't even want to talk to them much. First question, are they really regretting losing a great girl, or are they just desperate because at some point in their life they feel lonely or maybe horned up? The answer is yes and yes. So guys do this coming back thing for a multitude of reasons. And I actually had a whole show on that. Maybe we'll do a whiteboard show on that. But one of them is they're horned up, obviously, and they want to see if they can get access to you. And then number two is because they go out into the dating market or whatever market and they realize that the amount that you are willing to do for them is not the same as the amount as other girls are willing to do for them. And maybe you're really hot and attractive and all that good stuff and desirable. And they realize that when they go out into the dating market, they're not going to be able to get or attract a woman as hot and desirable as you, who's willing to do as much as you are. So that realization will have some men saying, well, damn, let me see if I can spin the block and continue to get access to her, right? Now, my main problem in my life, there is a man with whom I made some mistakes. Remember, I'm watching you from 2 months ago. He showed me in many ways and also told me that he is not interested in a relationship with me. So then that's your sign. That's it. That should be it. But of course, I was chasing him, hoping that one day he will love me. Never works. We were sleeping together for a few months, but one day we stopped. He had problems to stay up. Okay. So he's got some ED going on. So I stopped initiating things. So how is he serving you then? Like all of this and he can't even stay up? What's the point? I'm confused. But we continued hanging, I think you might say out. To clarify, he has a hormonal problem. We talked about it a few times. I saw the medicines. So that means that this is not an irregular thing. And this is something that you should come to expect for the rest of your relationship with him. I'm not going to diss anyone's condition, but Beliza, if the guy that is telling you he doesn't want a relationship isn't even D'ing you down, what's the point? What's the actual point? What are we doing here? What are you getting out of this? I don't even understand. I feel that in some way he values my company. What does that do for you? We were talking a lot. I always asked him many questions, and I saw that he enjoyed responding to them. Okay. Every time when I told him that he did something wrong, he apologized and tried not to repeat it. Okay, he still doesn't want a relationship, but what has changed? When I'd ask for help, I could count on him. Okay, just because you can count on him to fix your tire or something, that doesn't mean he wants a relationship with you. When he saw that I was sad, he tried to comfort me in his own way. That doesn't mean he wants to make you his girlfriend. At my suggestion, he bought an apartment, furniture, a motorcycle just after me, etc. So, he still doesn't want a relationship. Yeah, you can play girlfriend role. He's not going to make you his girlfriend, though. What's the point? However, as my mom said, he's a man, probably is thinking that he has, that it is all his ideas. Here's the other thing to note here, Belisa, that I just, want to pause and help you understand. You do realize if he's a man with ED, erectile dysfunction, and he struggled with that, and he has to take medications from that, you think you're the first girl he's ever come across that he's not been able to get hard for? Just going to be graphic here. Obviously, you're not. So clearly, this is a situation he's been dealing with, which means by the time he's met you, he's already dealt with many other girls who realize he has ED and probably said, "Oh, damn, I'm not trying to do this. This is pointless. Like, why would I be in a relationship? Not even a relationship. Why would I be in a situationship with a man that can't even get hard? What's the point?" And they all left. So you're like the sad, lost little puppy, the last one in the shelter that is, just dying for someone, anyone, that you will take the guy who is not going to commit. Imagine this. He has ED, can't even get his PP hard. And he has the audacity to say he doesn't want a relationship. He should be the number one man begging for a relationship for someone to hold him down. And you're the one saying, yeah, no relationship for me. And you have ED. So you don't even get D down. You're at home DJing yourself out while you serve a man who doesn't even want to commit himself to you. You can't make this up. It don't make a damn bit of sense. There's no way you can slice it, dice it to make it make some sense. It don't make a damn bit of sense. We known each other 1.5 years. 1.5 years wasted. Truthfully, I'm not going to be nice to you. Wasted. I don't know if he was seeing someone. You don't know if he was seeing. You don't know. During this time, but once a while, he would go to parties with his boys to different cities. He's always telling me about it. At least you can count on the fact he ain't sleeping with none of those women. Or at least if he's trying to, he ain't getting very far. Unless he's putting a soft pee-pee inside a girl. Anyways, when I was at his apartment, I never saw any evidence of another woman. Probably because they all saw his small pee-pee and left. It's going to be real with you. He has no problems showing me some things on his phone. What? Or leaving it next to me. How many? Okay. I'm going to say something that's going to sound like a joke, but I'm actually serious about it. If he can't get hard, what is he going to send girls? He can't send them D-pics. He has nothing to send them. So his phone is dry. Do you think if he could get hard, he would send D-pics? Probably. Then he'd have something to hide. He don't have nothing to hide. You going to take pictures of his soft pee-pee? I don't think so. Now he is deployed to another country for 6 months. He is already there for 2 months. I think this is like one of the most tragic Discord days we've ever had. So let's just quickly go through the list here. So he's got ED. He can't get hard. He's pee-pee soft and small all the time. So you can't get D down. He also doesn't want a relationship with you. So there's no intentionality here. There's no future here. He's telling you he doesn't want to build with you or commit to you. And now he's also long distance with you. So you don't even get the companionship of seeing him all the time or spending time with him. I can't even wrap my head around how this would possibly serve you. I don't understand. I stopped initiating contact to see if he will be missing me and also try to take some power back to me. I really want to let it go, but it's very difficult. Why? What are you losing out? On, I don't understand. Chat, please explain to me. I think it's because I'm a guy, so I'm not understanding. What is she losing out here on? Maybe I missed it in part of the message. I'm not sure. Or I have to reread, because what are you missing out on? What is the difficult, what are you losing if you don't have him in your life anymore? Mostly because this time I don't try to heal by finding someone else. I'm working on myself, trying to find my inner power, know my traumas, and stop being so nice to everyone. Since this 2 months, he wrote me 4 times, 2 long conversations. One time, some funny video. Was it a video of, never mind. You know what? I'm not even going to make those jokes. Okay. On which I didn't react. And 1 Christmas wishes. I replied. I am ready now to stop responding altogether. I can't live like that. Now you're seeing the line. I replied, oops. Oh, sorry, that's what you replied. Sorry. I'm glad you're seeing that. I see that I'm in Delululand, but it's very hard to fight with hurt ego and hope that one day maybe, yeah. Question, how should I behave when he comes back from deployment? So you actually think this should go on more? If I still have feelings. Oh boy. We are working together. What do you mean? So somehow we will see each other. What do you mean? Why didn't you mention that all? Okay. Or maybe he will reach out. That's what your hope. Okay. Should I be angry, neutral, pretend like I don't know him, or pretend like nothing has happened? In one way, I want my Disney Delulu to become true, but to be realistic, at least I want it to be finished. Wait, what? I want to finish like a high-value, proud woman. If that's what you want, then those things don't correlate. We didn't argue. In some twisted way, he was good for me. What is that way? What is that way? Except the fact he made me an option for his boredom. And he's long distance. And his PP doesn't get hard. This is a different type of delulu. This is a different type of delusion. I've never seen this type of delusion. There's nothing for you to even be deluded by. It's crazy because your delusion is just stemming from like your own mind building up from thin air. Like there's literally not, you're not even able to hold on to anything going on in the relationship. There's nothing. Like at least our first message of the day, yeah, even though she was being silly, she was getting D down silly, so it was making her go silly. Understandable. But in your situation, there's nothing he's giving you, doing for you. He's not paying for your apartment, your car. He's not giving you like some sort of money, some sort of resource, advice, putting you in a better situation. He's not dinging you down. He's not taking care. Like there's nothing he's doing. He's not doing anything. And you're like dumbfounded of his existence and you want so badly to be with him. And I'm just confused. Like okay, no offense, but like if he just stopped existing in your life would be exactly the same, if not better, because then you'd have some time to yourself instead of thinking about him all the time. And I'm really wondering what is making you feel connected to him, aside from the fact that maybe you're yourself bored. And because of your own boredom, you feel an attachment to him to kind of solve your boredom. Because I don't see anything in this message here that tells me that he has anything to do with your happiness whatsoever, or serving your happiness in any way whatsoever. So what do I think you should do? I think you should end this relationship. Now, whether or not you want to end it by sending him a long message and telling him it's over, or calling him, or whether you just want to ghost him and move on with your life, however you want to do that is up to you. But I think you should close this chapter of your life and move forward. First of all, start reinvesting back into yourself and figure out how to make your life not boring without having a guy in it. I know you said you've been working on that, but I think you need to work on it a little bit more, because this is striking me as exactly the situation you've been trying to grow from, because I think you're scared to let go of him because you're trying to work on yourself and not just hop on to the next person. But because you don't want to hop on to the next person, you'd rather keep him around for as long as possible. But that's also not healthy. One, he already told you out of his own mouth and of his own volition that he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. So that's already grounds to just leave, because anything you're doing there is a waste of time. You're not working towards a goal, a singular goal. You're only just waffling around, going willy-nilly, and then eventually, I'm telling you what's going to happen. Eventually, wherever he's stationed, wherever he's at, right, he's going to meet a new girl. He's going to get close with her, physically intimate with her. And then one day, either he'll just block you and never speak to you again, or one day you'll see on his social media that he has a girlfriend, and he'll just tell you, yeah, I can't talk to you anymore. And you'll be shocked and confused. But it's not that confusing considering he said, I don't want a relationship with you. And you chose to continue to stay. So that's a choice. So if you want to walk away like the high value, proud woman that you want to be seen as, then you go ahead and you end this for good. And when you end it for good, whether you do it via text, call, whatever the case may be, then you go ahead and you delete him and you block him on everywhere so that you're not even tempted to go back to him if he messages you about anything. That's my honest advice to you if you want to walk away with some dignity. Okay. Let's go on to our next question here. Oh boy, we got a lot. This one was done, right? I'm gonna make sure I didn't sorry, this guy. Yeah, we did that one. Okay, sorry. All right. Let's do this one. What is going on here? All right. So we got seize the day here. See the reply below. Rip Band-Aid off completely and healing. Hi, Tommy. I was unhinged, toxic, crazy, and still stalk my ex. It's like something goes in the air some days, and all of the Discord questions will be like extremely insane. I don't know what it is. It's just like some days it'll be like everyone is having the same tragic like story. I don't know. I understand how it works. I was unhinged, toxic, crazy, and I still stalk my ex, who I know is completely incompatible with me. And you gave great advice on how to move on from my ex. But I was hoping you could talk about how to muster the strength to actually rip the Band-Aid off. I've been struggling for about 2 months now. It does get better every day, but I want to know how to not feed those thoughts and feelings that come up from him when I start to miss him. That's not how that works. You're supposed to feel and think things, but it's about understanding that you're working towards a goal of moving forward in your life. And then as you feel and think things, you don't allow that to stop you or paralyze you from moving forward. So you can think and feel all you want and feel sad and miss him, but you're still going to do what you need to do for you today. And you're still going to keep your routine. You're still going to keep your schedule, and you're still going to keep building yourself. Like the actions that you take don't stop because you have thoughts and feelings. That's all you have to focus on. It is tough because I'm self-aware in admitting that I was toxic, selfish, manipulative, mean to my ex during the relationship. He was forced to end it because he became unhappy with our dynamic after 1.8 years. While he was not perfect, he was emotionally unavailable, abusive, and avoidant. The issue was with me and making better decisions, and I have to hold myself accountable for my actions in order to do better for myself and for my future relationships. That's a good way to go about it, though. I would cause fights and cry for attention. I would go run away into his walk-in closet and cry on the floor because I wanted attention. Oh, okay, wow, okay. I even went so far as to bang my head against the wall. This caused him to end the relationship shortly after. I don't think I've ever heard something like that in the Discord before. So okay. All right. When we were in a relationship, I would be jealous of all his female friends, his ex-girlfriends. Yes, they were in the picture as friends. I would constantly stalk his location. We shared our location. I would stalk his Instagram followers and following list. Granted, he would have 60 followers and would follow 50 people. And he knew a random... Wait, I think you meant saying also like a random meme account. I know this is unhealthy. At least you already know. But I just couldn't stop during our relationship and still can't stop stalking him now. So you're still watching his followers and following count. and this man has 60 followers and he's following 50 people. You should never, honestly, you probably shouldn't even date a guy with social media. I was almost going to say don't date an influencer or a guy who's popular at all because you'll lose your mind. But I don't even think you should be dating a guy who has social media at all. So that, I mean, because if you're lost in the sauce for a guy who has 60 followers, oh boy, I don't date no guy with any sort of popularity, please. You will go crazy. Okay. I would also check and go through his phone, all his apps, and all of his messages. And each of the time, I did not find anything incriminating. But I was never satisfied and at peace with myself or the relationship. But when I would check his phone, he always let me go through his phone. I feel regret, pain, and remorse for how I treated him, and I know he never wants to get back together. But it's always a but. I wish things turned out differently, like working towards a healthy relationship, staying friends. No. Don't get me mad. Just say, honestly, I want to be with him still. Don't get me mad. I don't want to lose my mind here. I just don't like it when you say staying friends as if that's an alternative that actually works for you. You want to be in a relationship with him. I'm not saying you're a bad person for that. But don't say staying friends as if, oh, yeah, we would just be friends like casually, everything would be casual. That's not a thing, okay? Or at the very least, not having such a messy, dramatic breakup. Not having such a messy, dramatic breakup. Where did it go here? Not having such a messy and dramatic breakup. That's what you just said. Not having such a messy and dramatic breakup. What would you consider this? I'm not saying that you're the only person that does wrong in the relationship. Obviously, it's two sides. But what you're saying here is quite puzzling to me. Okay. Please tell me your thoughts. Advice on ripping the Band-Aid off when the woman is the toxic one in the relationship and she is dealing with the loss of the relationship she knowingly caused. It's psychologically hard to completely block him from my burners and not stalk him on IG and TikTok. I have a question. How do you even stalk someone on TikTok? I made his likes on TikTok public. Please, I need help. Okay. You went into his phone and made his likes public on his profile so that you could stalk them when you check his profile. Oh, boy. Okay, seize the day. You have quite a conundrum on your hands. I'm going to be really honest with you, but I'm also going to be very firm and stern with you. First of all, I don't ever want you thinking about the relationship from a standpoint of, I want us to get back together. I wish we could get back together. I'm not saying that obviously desiring that is bad, but I mean that in terms of where you focus your energy, I want all your energy, because if you're going to say that I was a toxic one, I was unhinged, I did wrong, it was my fault the relationship ended, that's fine. And taking accountability is good. That'll actually help you get somewhere. So what I want for you to do is all this energy that you feel of missing him and regretting, what has transpired in the relationship and wishing it could have been different. I want you to take that energy and I want you to supercharge and channel it into analyzing every situation that happened in your relationship and figuring out, okay, when this happened, what was my response and how did that do a disservice to the relationship? Obviously, not in every situation you're in the wrong, but the ones that you know you are in the wrong, I want you to actually go through them, whether it be writing them or typing them out if you need to really see them on paper, so that you can analyze for yourself, where did I go wrong here? What was my response in the moment? And what would have been a better response for me in that moment, or better interaction or approach to that situation. The reason for that is because your energy has to be channeled in a place that actually become productive for you. Channeling all your energy into just saying, oh, I miss him so much. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh, I wish we could be in. That is not going to do anything for you because you can't control that outcome. What I mean by that is you can't control whether or not he wants to be with you after experiencing all of that with you. So being sad about the fact that he doesn't want to be with you doesn't do anything for you, and you can't progress out of that. So you have to channel it in a place where you can actually progress. So you have to be saying to yourself, okay, well, this transpired, but why did it transpire? How did it transpire? And how can I make adjustments for myself that actually work for me and who I am so that this doesn't transpire? So for you, what that looks like, you can't tell yourself you're just going to not do it. That's not an answer. So for example, if you say, oh, I have a horrible habit of checking up on everything that my partner does online or on social media, you might say to yourself, and this might seem extreme to you, but if that becomes such an issue for you, you might say to yourself, you know what? I'm done with social media. And I know some girls that have done that. Certain apps, whether it be Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, whatever it may be, had became such a intense problem in their relationships and in their life that they just said, I'm done with that app. Okay. And their life got better because of it. So you have to be honest with yourself about, okay, do I have a social media problem to the point where I can't do it? If Instagram is your problem where you sift through every single follower, right? And you literally cannot help yourself, then maybe you have to accept the fact that the best version of my relationships in the future is me not having Instagram, where I can't even check the stuff. And figuring out a lifestyle and how to live a life where I don't even have access to that information. Because I know that if I do have access to that information, I'll drive myself up a wall. And that's part of understanding being self-aware enough to understand who are you really, and not just saying, oh, I just will stop doing that. Okay. Every one of us is different. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person because you say to yourself, I can't have Instagram. It's just not going to work for me. Or you say to yourself, I can't even have TikTok. It's just not going to work for me. Right? If I want to get news and information, I go somewhere else to find my news and information. But if I have TikTok or Instagram, I'm going to lose my mind. And whoever I'm dating, I'm going to stalk everything they're doing. I can't even have it. I just can't. And the reason that I say that is because that's part of the realization that you're going to have in order to actually see some success in the future of your relationships. Because just saying that, oh, I did this with this guy and I know why it was wrong and I just won't do it again is not enough. You have to actually take action towards making it so that doesn't become an ongoing problem in the future. So whether it be for you with social media, whether it be for you with, like, for example, like how you talked about you were banging your head against the wall for attention and you would run away or you go in the floor of the walk-in closet to cry for attention, you need to start figuring out, okay, when I'm emotional like that, how do I communicate to my partner what I need? Right? And even before I'm emotional, that will work for me, that I won't run into the closet and cry. So what does that look like? When you sit down with someone and you're having conversation with them, assuming this is like a serious relationship, one of the things you should talk about is your fight language. What is fight language, you might ask? Fight language is the opposite of like love language. So how you love someone, everyone likes to be loved a little bit different. When you're in a fight or a disagreement with someone, everyone likes to deal with that a little bit different. Some people need space. Some people need you to come to them and cuddle them and hold them. Some people need to be completely left alone. Some people need to go for a walk. Some people like to have a conversation. Everyone is a little bit different. So understanding someone's fight language is such an important part to understanding what they need in those highly emotional states. So for you, you have to answer a question for yourself. What is my fight language? Meaning, what do I need when I'm in this heightened emotional state that will soothe me at the time? For you, it may be, I need someone to hold me, or I need someone to like be really close to me and pull me in really tight, or whatever the case may be, so I don't go hysterical, if you know that attention is what you need at that time. But that's also something you communicate to a partner, and you get an understanding if that's something he can do for you. Because if he can't, or that doesn't work for him, or he's like, nah, that's not my vibe, then that's not going to be a relationship that really works for you. Because if you don't get that, you're obviously going to respond this way. So that's part of the analyzing that you're going to be doing to better understand yourself. That way you can correct some behavior and then also be more self-aware to avoid having the same mistakes happen in your relationships. Okay? All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who want to ask me a question, whether it be in our free relationship advice forum, our premium relationship advice forum, or our private relationship advice, you can ask me through all of those through my TikTok bio link or the link in my description there. You can ask me any one of those questions through those links as well. Okay. For those of you who are watching me on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just Tomisin_Tub on the top left corner of the screen. For those of you who are watching me on YouTube, it's also down in the bottom of my description there. You can follow me on TikTok, on Instagram there as well. For those of you who are watching on TikTok and you missed parts of the show or you came late, you can go ahead and rewatch the entire show. It's just my name there up at the top right, Tomisin. You can just type in my first name, Tomisin, on YouTube. Go into the live section of my YouTube page. You'll see this live stream along with all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and TikTok live chat embedded in the video. So it's so awesome. Okay. For those of you who want to catch me live again, I'm live every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST. But obviously tomorrow is New Year's Eve. So I'm not going to be live tomorrow just because you guys are all watching me from different parts of the world. And I know when I get on at 4 p.m. for some of you, it's going to be night. You'll be going into the New Year's. I want you to enjoy your New Year's, not be here with me, practice some of the stuff we talked about. We'll all enjoy our New Year's. Then we'll reconvene the classroom the day after New Year. So the actual New Year. So January 1st, we'll reconvene again. So on Wednesday, we'll reconvene and we'll talk and we'll discuss. You guys can tell me how your New Year's was and we'll be all Gucci there. Okay. So no show tomorrow, but a show on Wednesday. All right. So until we meet again on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will bid you adieu. Arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, ciao, salam, bon voyage! And I'll see you on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you. I cherish you. Have a great, amazing, safe New Year's. Please stay safe, okay? Please don't drink and drive. Please have a good time. Not so good that you end up in our Discord, though. All right? I'll see you on Wednesday. Happy 2025. It's 2025. You getting old. I'm getting old, too. All right? I'll see